lots of discussion about that. Later on, so you said, there's no relief. So, we're talking about 17,000. So, yeah, good enough. No. We're taking these easy. So, we're running about that much on the state roads level. Traffic used to be I'll look it up in a second. You can look at it. I'll look at that.
Our agenda is ended tonight, so hopefully we notice it. We didn't add anything except Mr. Martin Curry's going to give a presentation. Just an update. And we just moved some of the things around on it, that's all. And from now on, we're going to put on the back all our updated events so people can put them in their books when they come so they don't miss anything, meetings, events that are going around town. And if you've noticed, we're now filming. Jim did a great job. We've got it all installed within a month. We have in-house filming now. It's not live, but it'll be on the internet tomorrow, right, on the website.
Actually, I'd like to thank Heidi especially. She got that thing done.
Right. And that's what we're having a problem with the microphones. Every time that we hook up, 2 microphones were shut off last month when we were having trouble. So it wasn't anything broken up. It was just constant hooking up. So this way, hopefully, we solved all our problems there. I want to give a big thank you to our professional team that we hired to do, all the research and attend the meetings for the district in reference to Minto. They did a great job at the last meeting. And then also the staff and I visited the pits in reference to the DOT rock, and I think we solved that problem. And, just to let you know, we're on that. We had some complaint about the dust. We have September on your list there on the agenda. September 17th is our groundbreaking for the second half of the community park at 4 p.m. September 19th, Green Market is 9 to 2, followed by an Oktoberfest that is going to be sponsored by the residents. We're hoping to have a pumpkin patch, craft vendors, for holiday crafts, band, bounce house. We're trying to get beer sales, pay rides, petting zoo, and I would like to try to maybe get a lawnmower race thing going on, food trucks, and hopefully a car show. Those are just the things we're looking at right now. So keep that in mind. That's September 19th. September 20th is the Acreage Landowners. We'll be sponsoring the Acreage Jam, 4 to 10. And I have a question for whoever wants to answer it, legal or engineering. I know the answer, but for the audience, 140th Minto has a road that they put in, and it's obviously for the construction. And they didn't come to us for a permit. And if they're going to drive construction trucks through our neighborhood, they need to put up a bond, I would think, if they damage our road. So do we have any kind of answer on that?
There has been a crossing at that location in the past for a while. There's a class 4 drive through that connects it now one side to the other. What they've done recently, however, is a chance to show up to, but close to our pedestrian path. They have not, to our knowledge, yet used it for anything other than agricultural access. So at such time that they would use it for construction access, they would need to do that. But to date, we do not think they have done anything that they would have had to apply for a connection with the work.
Okay, because I saw the big tires going over our sidewalk, and I think there's tire marks everywhere. I didn't like that at all. And they have electric going over there also, so they're getting ready for something. Okay, then I just have one last thing. Vila property, I've been looking through my old books. It's been going on too long. If we can put that on next month's agenda. And supervisors' comments, who wants to go first?
No, I'm going to add my comments during each item, but I would like for, since you brought up the hits, I'll actually see it on the agenda next month, solutions for this. Remember I asked you guys to go and check prices on, someone mentioned dust deposit. For the dust, specifically on, I guess my stretch, I see it all the time, and this person contacts me, and I'm trying to follow through on that.
That's what we're
Per
She said it's a big pack.
Fritz.
Right.
Okay.
I added Mr. Marty Perry who's just going to give us an update. Okay, so just came in, I believe, so 7.0 is Mr. Marty Perry.
So do we have a motion? I was going to say, I'll motion to amend the agenda to add Martin Perry to the special meeting.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Ready? Let's start.
For the record, Marty Perry, just briefly, the status of things, the Board of County Commissioners, as most of you are aware, everybody was at the hearing, has transmitted the comprehensive plan amendments submitted by Minto, which include text amendments along with the proposed plan amendment proceeding to the State Department of Economic Opportunity for review as required by state law. That review period takes place over about a 30-day period. It's transmitted back to the Board of County Commissioners. We are now scheduled on October 2nd for the Zoning Commission of the county to consider the zoning application. Up to this point, we're going to build the comprehensive plan amendments and the text amendments. Now we'll get into the details of the zoning plan itself. These things run in tandem. They can't get rezoned until they have a comprehensive plan amendment. But the zoning commission can hear the zoning application. Then they make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, and that hearing will be the zoning commissioners on October 2nd. The Board of County Commissioners will hear both the zoning application and we'll have the second and final reading on the comprehensive plan and text amendments on October 29th. We'll also set aside October 30th as an additional day for hearings if needed, which is very possible. The consulting team has met this week, and they met about a week ago or so ago. And we have a basically planning strategy. We'll be following what's happening. We'll continue to meet with staff. The county staff is in the current posture of developing conditions of approval relevant to the zoning project. With the issues related to traffic and project will be developed in phases.
what we're looking at doing is constructing a new levee on the southern boundary of the corridor just north of the Yellow Canal. So overall, project is about 2.5 miles long, broken up, as I said, in phase 1 and phase 2. Why we're moving forward with phase 1 on the western side is that was the area that was identified as a greater concern to the overall integrity of the existing berm itself. So I think it was about a year ago that I was here presenting before this board, gave an overview of the various alternatives that we were considering at that point in time of different design features that we incorporated in the project. During that discussion, we highlighted 2 or 3 different alternatives that had more promise than some of the others as we moved into the design itself. So we completed that process, we completed the design, and the overall project itself is about close to shy of $8 million, $7.8 million. So far today, as I said, we've secured the funds for the first stage, which is about $4 million. And the alternative that we need to settle on, and we finalize the design on, is a earthen levee just north of the existing berm. So this is the existing berm that's out there today. What we're looking at doing is taking that berm, shading back the slope. Right now it's about a 1-to-1 slope. We'll pull that berm back to the canal banks, back to like a 3-to-1 slope, and construct our levee just to the north there. So the levee top was about 14 feet, so you can drive on it and get access, as well as after that, I've referred to in the past as a 10-15 meters, such that on one side of the levee, on the northern side, they're in orbit, they can operate pursuant to their operation schedule, manage their water levels. And on the southern side, the downstream side, the Yellow Canal, we can operate their system without any hindrance to that difference in water elevation across the levee. So let me take a minute and talk about the seepage that will be both existing today and what is existing today after. As I start off, I'll apologize. I understand there's been a lot of discussion and concern about the amount of seepage that will be resulting following the project. Some of that concern may have been generated from a response that my agency gave to the Department of Environmental Protection during our permitting process. I'll be honest with you, if I had to do it again, I probably would have reworded that sentence to more accurately reflect what it is that we're really talking about. So let me walk through it here. If this is the existing berm today, these blue lines represent, obviously the water level on the upstream side of the levee, and the seepage as it works its way through the existing berm. It's an earthen berm. All earthen berms have seepage. The water is hydraulic engineering factor of life. Once you have water stacked up higher on one side of the pile of dirt, for lack of a better expression, than it is on the other side, and you can have water line move through that pile of dirt. You not refer to that as seepage. What's occurring up there today is when the corner water elevations are high, the Yellow Canal water elevations are lower, and we ran into the local flood protection. You'll have these seepage lines that come, as they go through the existing berm. You'll notice in this area, oftentimes that water will exit through the berm at a higher elevation than the water surface on the other side of the canal. What that does is if you have what we call high exit velocities, you'll get saturated soil conditions where some of those residue start sloughing off. If you go out there and look at berm today, you see areas where it's sloughed off and falling into the bottom of the canal. So that's what you're looking to prevent. That's what you're looking to manage. It is through that mechanism that levees fail, berms fail. What we're looking at doing, the new levee in place, as I said before, we moved it back away from the new canal. Brought that canal bank to a more 3-to-1 slope to get some more stability. And with managing the seepage, the seepage is still moving through the area, still moving towards the canal. But our management is such that it has a much longer flow path to go through. So when it comes out on the canal bank over here, it's below the water line, below into the canal. It's getting into the canal, it's not coming above that water line, so you get those saturated conditions on the canal bank itself, and leads to the sludge and so we are not altering, we are not changing the regional groundwater patterns in the area. You're still going to have that south-easterly movement of seepage and groundwater out of the coastal area into the residential areas in our ITID ongoing to the regional groundwater. We'll still have seepage that moves into the MO. Again, we're just looking to manage where it comes out and how it comes out. We're not looking to reduce it, stop it, or change it. And I think, as I said, I had to do a little bit, probably more work to answer a little bit better. The way the answer was written is that we were reducing the amount of seepage. So in reality, what we're doing is we're reducing the amount of seepage that comes directly into the MO canal. Okay? So you'll have some of that seepage that comes underneath the canal, which still stays in the ground on the east side. Supports the groundwater table down in the residential areas. So I guess, just in summary, we're looking forward to the construction of the project. By constructing the new levee, it will allow corporate to operate pursuant to their operating schedule and their level of their permit, without having to have change your operations operate your system. I think when we went through the ITID, there was a fair amount of discussion on the water levels of the Indiana now, and we could maintain a certain integration between the two water bodies, so we didn't have any structural repair issues. With this project, that will no longer be a hindrance to your operation. You can operate your system for drain and flow protection. That would be happy to answer any questions.
The last thing that we just do, I know during the storm, we actually had cold water go higher than it. So, on your side, on the public side, to be able to manage that so that we can continue to operate your lower while that is being the whole time.
Yes, so the idea behind the new levy would be described for a fence between the two units. They would be able to manage their operations on their side of the fence, pursuant to their schedule and their permit, and we'd be able to manage through on their side of the fence.
Are they getting a new permit after this permit is built? Is their permit going to modify or change for the existing soccer along the user?
Not that I know of, no.
Alright, so then they'll be able to keep their, because historically they've held their water above their permitted levels.
In their operating schedule, they have a certain zone, the exact elevation, 22.5. They're allowed to go up to under certain conditions, provided it comes back down to the zone that they, that's criteria that's in their permit, or in their operating schedule, it's possible to allow them to do so.
I
west part. So how much would be left after you did the west part? Yeah. Roughly 3 miles. So even if you do the west, what is to stop the water at the level side coming back on the east?
Well, I mean, the overall project is the entire thing. We just had to break it up into phases 1, 2.
So when do you expect the second phase to be finished?
We're pursuing the additional funding and supplemental session.
Okay. When you had packaged this to Tallahassee, you had packaged it with the canal, the gun range, and Moss Park. It's correct, because I was there when it was presented. What is the status on the Moss Park?
In what respect?
When what was her name? Tempest Morgan made some promises about Indian Trail getting access to the Moss Park. And they then packaged it and they presented it to Tallahassee. But we haven't heard anything about the Moss Park at this point.
As I said, we're still working through the easements that are required.
Yeah.
As part of those easements is the easement for the area right here in the southern end corner. There's also the easement over on the Moss Park property. So we're working towards finalizing those easements from your conversations with Ms. Morgan. We're still continuing down that path.
It's not that I would like to, since you did attach it together, I would like something in writing to try some letter of intention. So when you do get the easements, because I did talk to Tallahassee, and they said by the end of the month, they would be able to get rid of some of those easements. But some of those easements, according to them, has been in place since 1954. But I would like something in writing. I'm not saying that I don't trust you guys, but something in writing saying your intentions after those easements are lifted. And when I get something in writing, I would feel much more secure, because you guys had said things in our history that never came true. So I'm just trying to just go forward on an even keel. When do you think that the east side of the berm will be finished?
Assuming pursuing additional funding in the session, once we secure that funding, the construction on phase 1 will still be ongoing. The idea would be to move right from completion construction phase 1 right into phase 2, so there isn't any lag between the two.
Okay. I would like to make a motion. I don't know if I can, or if I can put it on the calendar to make a motion to put an addendum onto our agreement that we make the agreement for the borough about them putting their intentions about the Moss property in writing. Again.
That's, well, one whether tonight's that we need to make a motion to add it and see if there's support for that.
I'd like to make a motion to add it to tonight's agenda.
If you're gonna, if South Carolina Management District's gonna, move forward, we did a legislative session this year to go after the extra funding. That will change depending on what happens with residency, I think.
under the same premise, making sure our people don't play. And that's why I'd like to add it, because it's a safety factor.
I'm assuming you're being unstatement for that. I didn't oppose because I opposed the buy. I opposed having to come into agreements in front of us. I don't want to delay this. And I don't think he'll have the answer tonight. I would rather see it in two separate forms. That's the only reason I oppose it. I don't oppose the purpose of it or what, why you want it. I don't oppose that. I just don't like delaying agreements. And things like that to me should have been done prior to this meeting.
At your last meeting, at the last board,
We did.
the board approved this agreement, subject to the fact that the issue of seepage was addressed, and I'll turn it over to Ruth. They have had discussions with South Florida, and we do believe that that information has already been constituted.
What we did is I've been in discussions with South Florida's his commitment and South Florida's legal team, and we have added two provisions. One, states, like this committee stated here tonight, that this project does not alter the existing regional groundwater systems. And the other is that the Indian Trail shall not be obligated to provide the district with a capital contribution towards this project. Remember, that was a concern. Both of those provisions have been added, and so the agreement would be ready to be signed tonight. Right, now you just added an amendment to that, which means that you need to take that back, and so that it's not ready for tonight. And that's the only reason why I opposed it. If you did it in two separate formats, I would absolutely 100% support it.
If
I'm
you asked for a
not-
separate letter of intent.
That's the only reason. I have them up for my time list, just for the record.
Well, it's on the calendar now. Let's get up to it, and when we get up to it, we can decide whether we want to do it. Because as it stands now, I don't feel comfortable without having some type of letter stating, because when I went to Tallahassee, they put in as a package. And I haven't heard anything about the Moss Project. And I just want something in writing from them while we have their hands in the fire, that there will be a possibility, there will be future drainage on the Moss Property. Jay has already done some type of rough calculations how much Indian Trail would need to invest to have that additional drainage. Minto keeps on writing in front of us that we would get an additional inch worth of drainage when, if we have the Moss Property, we would have more than we need. I just think it's a very important topic that should come up, and it should be in writing instead of verbal, because Temperance Morgan, she was very nice and she was very accommodating, but she's no longer there. And I do not want our people to be holding the bag again if South Florida Water Management changes leadership again, because word of mouth is cheap.
If you remember, if I can just clarify on one thing. First of all, it would be very difficult for the staff to make that kind of recommendation. I mean, what we're looking for is probably going to be an operating permit, I think, to discharge into Moss. Since they do not own the fee, they're just getting from Fish and Wildlife. And so when we get an operating permit, they cannot
process of the permit issue would be valid for 5 years.
I was just making sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
If there's a package written from Southwest Water Management District in the past legislative session to pursue laws, you have that in writing. What you cannot control is the change in leadership at Southwest Water Management District. The only thing you can do is to consistently make it a priority in the Trail Improvement District to get into the face of Southwest Water Management District every single year to remind them of it and not let it off. With the change, if there's a change of governors, there's that concern of mine too, because quite frankly, Governor Scott is probably the first governor I've ever seen come out and do a hands-on like he did. I'm not saying that Governor Chris, potentially if he became governor again, he wouldn't do that, but you always have that change. And then if there's a change of governor, there's always change of leadership among all the government agencies. So those are always risks, no differently than change of board of supervisors at this board if they move in a different direction. What I think you should do is keep it separate from the agreement, but I think it would be most appropriate to write a letter here requesting your agencies just the commitment and maybe even include, because I would like to see that package that you saw that was presented. And you're just looking for that commitment that you would, continue to pursue that. A MOS project is not going to be anything that you're going to be able to achieve in the next few years, unfortunately, because it requires multiple agencies to get involved, but it needs to remain as a priority in this district, and we need to convince Southwest Water Management District to make it a priority of theirs, and you guys have 5-year plans, 20-year plans, etc. We probably need to that's probably where we need to advocate for it, to include it in their short-term and long-term plans where it is most appropriate. Whereas we probably are better at that. That's where we need to go with this, and we need to keep it separate from this agreement.
Well, and the other thing I would stress right now, as John said, they're trying to get the easement from us, the temporary construction and access easement, to get on the berm. And the second easement they need are the easements from Fish and Wildlife and TIP, which is up there now being considered. If we amend this document to add this request regarding moss, I think it's going to cause problems with part. No, I'm talking about. No longer on that. I think it's going to cause a delay in the easement, which gives them an easement to moss. That's what they're getting right now. They got this agreement with Fish and Wildlife. They are getting the easement to moss right now. Once they get that easement to moss, that's when we say, we've got your access to moss. What we want in return is X. And it's up to this board to decide what they want. But I think if we start adding things to the agreement right now, it's going to delay your legal people in Tallahassee. And we need to get that easement from moss, from Tallahassee into the business center. Because that's where we're going to get our moss access.
Good, Chair. And I know in the last 2 or 3 months, you made that presentation explain to this board exactly that, and you assured this board that the agreement that we approved already with those 2 changes was that we withheld our control because we controlled the easement, and that was our ace in the hole for later on.
Correct.
So that when you pursue what you need, or what you would like to pursue to write it down, you already have what you need to negotiate that to get what you want in return.
Yeah, they're going to need legal access to moss, which they don't have right now. We got that ability to get it to them. Mr. Dunn, you want to change the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, we want to change the motion.
I'll just go through it.
Okay. You want to
What?
make another one?
No.
All right. Any public, do we have comments?
Okay, first, to withdraw your second. Excuse me, are you willing to withdraw your second?
Sure.
Okay. And then I guess we need to have a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alex Larson?
I've been going to the district for 14 years, and the first time I walked into the room, I walked into the hornet's nest because it was the pits. And Shalloway, all guys, We were going to do a $217 million deal that was going to screw every taxpayer in the state. That's what we did. And now we're screwing Indian Trail. You don't want to change the historical seepage from the COVID. See, we got flooded, but most of our problem is drainage, and the drainage isn't going to the north, or it shouldn't. It should be gravity feed as much as possible, saves us on gas. But this is a nightmare. I've been in the district about 400 times when they say the modeling didn't work out quite the way we thought it would. This is one of them. See, I trust my guts. I read every permit that goes through South Florida Water Management District because they mail them to me. And then I walk up to the podium when they have one of their cockamamie schemes and say, well, our modeling, we've done the modeling, and then 2 years later, well, the modeling didn't quite work out. Go back and watch the meetings. Okay? I can dare you on this one because I've done it 250 times. And this is another crime against us. We already spent, I don't know how much in 2010 or 9 with the artwork that was done on the berm that was supposedly a repair. We, Indian Trail, we did the artwork, the rock work. And we spent a lot of money. This is a crime. You don't want to do this. This crap about the Moss property, GL has first dibs on drainage already. This is, this is misconstrued, misdone, and this shouldn't be done. This berm is a nightmare for us. This is somebody else's agenda, and it certainly isn't for the 45,000 residents or 35,000 residents or any residents. Fences between neighbors, I don't like fences. I don't like this berm. I haven't got, I'm going to point something at you. I don't get paid. Remember that. I'm not worried about my job. Temperance Morgan is gone from the South Florida Water Management District. She's no longer there. So any promises made in the press don't exist. They don't exist. And the one thing about the South Florida Water Management District is we have not had adequate drainage since we've been here because somebody else took it. They got 4 to 5 inches of drainage. That's what happened. But I haven't got a dog in the show. I don't get paid. But some people are getting paid, and they're being threatened. This has to happen or else. I hope to God we get a new governor. Because let me tell you, I know how to lobby Charlie Crist. Believe me. But this is a crime. Doing half of it, we don't have the money. Don't do it until they have all the money and do it correctly. When they, every permit in the South Florida Water Management District says do no harm. You're not supposed to harm anything nearby. And they sucked out Deer Run, guys. They had to run new wells. Did they tell you that? Besides the canals and ponds? Do you think if we run out of water, you can only dig so far for a well? Please, don't do this. You have the ability. Everybody who voted for this last month can rescind the vote. This is a vote you need to rescind and really take your time with. I mean it. This is not right. Please. Because my only alternative is to sue everybody sitting up there.
Thank you.
To save our butts. I want to save our water.
There's my over the 3 minutes. Thank you. Next.
Sue everybody.
They are.
Madam Chair.
Excuse me.
Point of order. Madam Chair, I'm not going to tolerate this as board supervisor. I'm not going to tolerate outbursts from the front row. It starts the whole evening off, and that's correctly there absolutely what Mr. Summer has to say. Quite frankly, I'm not going to tolerate somebody threatening the board or sitting down there with a bunch of riffraff issues to say afterwards. So, Madam Chair, please, just for the rest of this evening, for the rest of the other people who want to speak, let's just not let it proceed any further. To me, whatever procedures say, outbursts, they can be removed.
Well, we'll include the board in that also. Well, warned comments. Okay, Mr. Summers, go ahead.
About some 1465510 people. I'm kind of catching up here. We've been gone a while. So I went back to what's in way South Florida Water Management permit this district. Special condition 13. ITD, complete construction, monitoring, repair of above ground pipes and interference for water campaign. There's another part in there that says a portion of the corporate area, 5,872 acres drains into the Indian Trail system. Where's that 5,872 acres on that?
It's 3 miles long.
$4 million is cheap. Are you going to do any excavating back from the canal where you show those 5 water flow lines flowing through? Are you going to do any excavation back 700 feet? Or are you going to go on top of bridges?
I read part of the contract. They're both go down 6 inches down to the main, according to the contract.
6 inches down.
Vertical solar or something like that. But, yeah, I'm just seeing if I got it right.
Well, the intent I have, we call it a country field out there. There's a water spoil down off to the west. We take the next spoil down as well as the material being from cutting back the existing road and reshaping that back to the west. Doing that material, bringing the new levee. 6 inches is the reverse conservative. Clearing and drawing that foundation of the levee to prepare for the new material.
Are you going down to the rock? Just going down 6 inches.
But we're just trying to straighten the rubber, the organics off the top of it, and using the extra materials in the berm, as well as soil pile off to the right, to the west, to construct this levee.
It's berm materials going to be crushed and drained.
It'll be selected, it'll have to be processed, we remove all the organics.
What happens if you have no suitable material below 6 inches?
It's not being incorporated into the. Put it on the video, you know.
Is that on the checklist?
No. It would be, there's a big price of the contract, and they would be required to dispose of that unsuitable material and designate to stockpile.
But it's not a suitable. Okay, so it's not. It's a change order.
Not outside the existing conditions that we've already documented, so that's the technical side. Or if going to a bid, they have to make an assumption of how much material will be processed.
Record that whole line.
We geotech all that.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Next.
I've sat in a whole bunch of these meetings, and the one thing that I'm concerned about is the fact that I think it was said tonight that the wildlife agency wants 22 and a half feet. Is that what you said? As their optimum level?
That's their existing number.
Okay. But the weir, according to documentation in the back up here, and according to your response, the South Florida Waterman District response, the weir was set at 21.5 feet. And that the water flows freely across the weir. And there have been reports from in the Post, Palm Beach Post, saying that this weir operated very well for this current season, spring season, and rainy season, the past one, in addition to taking the pressure off immediately after Isaac. But in these response here, it says that we were asking the question, will this emergency weir become a permanent structure? The answer was the emergency weir is temporary and is set at elevation 21.5. The flow across the weir is variable depending on the surface water level and interconnectivity of the wetlands. No one is answering us what is going to replace the weir. They're saying it's temporary. So if the weir is set at 21.5 feet, why do we need a levee at 27 feet? I mean, that to me is a potential. I mean, we're going from a berm to a levee that is meant to hold water back. Where are we getting any assurances that they're not going to store, or all of a sudden we'll have an event that's going to hold water up to 27 feet if there is no weir set at 21.5 feet? So that is a big concern of mine. Additionally, if we only have half of a levee, what good is that? I mean, if the funding doesn't come through, and we have half of a levee, and we have an event, what good is that going to do? To me, to my knowledge, I don't see that it's going to seek the least path of least resistance and flow around it. But at least with a half a levee, they're not able to hold 27 feet of water back. But that is is a big concern of mine, because look at the Herbert Brewer dike. The concerns. The dike was put in to protect the people in the area, okay? But then, all of a sudden, they're storing more water there than they should. In fact, they were damaging the environment of the lake because they stored so much water. And that's when they were putting themselves in jeopardy of the levee breaching, because it did have seepage, it was seeping through. So my concern is, what I think we may be making ourselves more unsafe with the 27-foot levee.
Yeah. Next. Laura?
I have two main thoughts about the levee system. First of all, the land transaction that is enabling all of this is done by three agencies: the Acquisition and Restoration Council, South Florida Water Management, and the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Corps. All three are in agreement that the Moss property will serve, amongst other things, for flood prevention. This is not a new thought, not a new condition. This is in the documents that they've already been discussing and negotiating. Is that correct? Is that correct that the ARC has already mentioned flood prevention in the negotiation of these transactions for the Moss property? The ARC and also SFWD and the Fish and Wildlife. They're all looking at Moss for flood prevention, amongst other things. Okay, so it's not a new condition. And it would therefore be possible to put a condition into Indian Trails Agreement that's subject to final approval of this transaction, that the original intent of flood prevention be respected. So that's my first point. My second point is that at the August meeting there was a unanimous vote by this board to place a condition to balance pre- and post-groundwater seepage. Now, the only way you can balance it is if you know what it is. And the way to do that is you put in wells to monitor flow. I've seen some of these wells in the grassy water. You need at least 3. And you're able to measure not only the flow, but also the direction of flow. And the only way you're going to know the pre-burn flow is by measuring it now, and then comparing it to the post-burn flow. So my suggestion to South Florida Water Management is that these wells be included as part of the project, and that they be monitored as long as the berm is in use. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anybody that we missed that wanted to part of it? Thank you very much for coming out. Next is the 60th permit, Mr. George Webb.
President, for the record, George Webb, County Engineer. Last year, here before you last time, when we discussed the 60th Street permit, the county is building the current 60th Street project east of Royal Palm Beach in one contract. We've applied to you for a permit to finish the rest of the work east of Royal Palm, rebuild the bridge at Royal Palm Beach, and extend the pavement project to the west. That project we will have to go out to bid. It's not going to be an add-on to our existing contract. It's going to be too long. I was asked tonight, I just want to put on the record that it's our intent that Royal Palm Beach will remain open and not closed. That was a good question some of you would think. But the new wider bridge will be built with the currently staying. So I'm here today asking the board to reconsider the permit, and we have had some discussions with your engineer, We've thrown some options out as far as limit how to transition from asphalt back down to shell rock. Judge Jay doesn't have his picture up, but if you get in the picture, we're relocating the current intersection to the north. It's going to be closer to the canal than it is today. So if we try and tie back into the shell rock portion of 60th that's existing today, we have to transition at some level of diagonal or whatever. Both your engineer and my staff have some great concerns over any transition having to be done on shell rock east of roadway. From the standpoint of liability and safety as far as the operation. So I was asked to come, but I also wanted to come to have an understanding with you as far as where and how we move forward with this next piece of the project. We can't get this project going without the permit. It's a drainage permit, and I have to have drainage for my project. So we're looking to get some understanding of where we go next in this process. And so I guess I'm here looking for some direction and/or hopefully if you can find potentially improve.
Okay. Jay, what are some of the compromises that you guys all discussed that he's mentioned?
From the first time it was submitted, the road was moved back in 185 feet west.
So
east
that's
of
a
the
quarter of a mile?
intersection. They also discussed whether there's going to be settled on pregnancy snake idea, meaning those environmental storage, and that was because of my California. That was the original submittal, so they made those concessions. The latest submittal that the county has tried to even cut the asphalt back further, which was referred to, quite frankly, a centimeter double project, it's not a good transition. They have, in the current submittal, which I haven't given you a recommendation on, because the previous was denied, and this was for discussion. The current submittal, and I do have the backup material, you go 135 feet west of the west edge of the pavement for Laurel Mountain Boulevard. The reason for that is the traffic detector should signal to go there. From there, you would transition the shell back into the existing shell. That does not give you drainage help west of that intersection, which is one of the things we saw, so that takes it away. You asked specifically what other compromises have been made. They have agreed to the 30 mile an hour west of Laurel Beach Boulevard. Those are essentially the changes that have been made since the original.
Right. So it's going back to leaving it simply for the intersection improvement when the bridge is constructed. And this is truly about public safety. This is not about access to Minto West. I don't care who moves and hollers and says any different. Anybody who's ever driven that road currently and drives from west to east and enters that intersection, it's not safe. So to leave it the way it is and not do anything about it is ignoring public safety. That intersection was discussed long before Minto West ever even closed on the property. So it isn't about it. It's about acting on what our responsibilities are and providing public safety where it matters. In that particular area, there is flooding issues. And I'm assuming that if we worked out the pregnant snake part of it, that would improve the flooding in that area. And it is within that first quarter of a mile. You don't have to extend the pavement any further than that. Reducing the miles, I think, was a concern of President Jacobs. But this is a necessity. This is not about politics. This is not about opening the wild, wild west to Minto West. This is truly about an intersection improvement that is needed now, even if we didn't extend the east side of 60th on the other side. But now that that's been extended, it's a necessity. It's about public safety. And all it takes is a regular common sense person to drive west to east to recognize that that intersection the way it exists today is not safe for the average driver or the pro driver or the new driver. So I really would like to see this board move in a direction that is about public safety.
Hey George, how you doing? Tell me something. When is State Road 7 going on? And what is the holdup?
I gave give you a yes answer to the first one. The holdup is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife issuing a position paper on their determination on the sensitivity and effect on the snail kites and other species in the area. We understand that it's been drafted. We're trying to work with DOT to get it out of U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Unfortunately, also I'm understanding that they're going through reorganization right now and are not ready to release it. So we're hopeful in the next 30 to 60 days that it comes out. Then everybody can take whatever action happens because of it. We don't know what it says. They're not releasing their position on it. My guess is they're going to walk a very fine line between making a call on where this thing is from. We have worked with DOT, and we believe the mitigation package that's currently before them is an extremely aggressive package that my understanding is that they've been very receptive to the mitigation that's been put forth by DOT.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Indian Trail, we went on the presumption that State Road 7 was going through to North Lake. They opened up roads. To me, I think that, and your budget, if I understand, on a yearly basis is being reduced by $5 million. You're retiring soon, aren't you?
Depends on what you mean by soon.
Another couple of years or something like that.
Three.
To me, if it was me, I would close up Persimmon, block it, and block 60 until the county goes through to North Lake. Because realistically, State Road 7 has been started a long time ago, and the people of the acreage need it. But all of a sudden, 60th Street is on your crosshairs, and you're pushing that through. How come you never did that with State Road 7?
That is a little bit different history from the way it actually was. I had the pleasure of being here with this board before. We talked about getting this project up and the connections that would be made to provide access from the acreage to this new roadway. The interest in the board was to provide 3 access points, 60th, Persimmon, and Orange Road. At the time, we did not have the money to move the project to the north to get to 60th. There was a lot of discussion about what the effect was going to be, particularly for the residents along Persimmon, between State Road 7 and 110 and North Palm Beach. They were very encouraged of having all this potential traffic put on there until we were able to get 60th in place. I seemingly have some memories of being very much pushed and, I won't say coerced, but encouraged to move 60th forward in our 5-year road program. We were able to finally do that. We came up with the money to do that. So it is, to me, a very much joint initiative with the county and the Indian Trail to provide this 3rd access point to allow the traffic to sort itself out as far as where and how people will choose to do that. Instead of percentage there, probably 90% of the burden today is going to people using it. Again, the county has had it on its legislative priority and has worked hand in hand through the MPO process with the DOT staff, their engineers and consultants on trying to get this State Road 7 project moving forward. I think I heard that the project manager was saying something like we've been in this PD&E process, their PD&E process, for 7 years. And every time you hear a politician talk about what do you want to do for getting roads up, we need to speed up and streamline. Well, this is not exactly streamlining when we use this as a poster child of what happened in the project. So we're out there, we're trying to continue to try to make it happen. We want to try to make it happen. We are potentially even putting some county money into this mitigation package with the DOT to show our interest and support as far as trying to push that project through.
In my opinion, I think that 60th Street should be dead-ended until you come through with State Road 7. Dead-ended at Royal Palm Beach. People wasn't so used because the way that I hear the county talking, that it's only the acreage people that use Persimmon, but Royal Palm Beach uses Persimmon just as much as we do. But they chose not to go through to State Road 7. So they're really using our roads more than the same amount as we do. I would prefer that we just dead end 60th to Royal Palm until State Road 7 comes through. I don't really think we should give up all our chips before State Road 7 goes through North Lake.
George, what did you tell me, 38 million for the part going up to something like that? All right, and then this project was, I think you budgeted 5.1, and I think you under budget at 4.7 million.
And we obviously have a second phase, but I just discussed the April budget.
So, when you understand the history, the county has committed, when it comes to State Road 7, moving it as far north as they possibly could. The acreage has taken the brunt of it, and that is why I think everybody, including the state, has been completely behind State Road 7 going to North Lake Boulevard. The project is completely funded from 60th Street all the way to North Lake. The only reason why there's any stalling right now and the construction's not proceeding forward is because the city of West Palm Beach has played a part to stall this project, and they're trying to stall it 3 to 4 years. This is a road, it's funny because all I've ever wanted was State Road 7 that currently runs through the heart of the acreage to go to the outside of the acreage. And I have never asked any of the other developments to take it inside. I've asked them just to commit to where they were on the outside of the development. But it's funny that when we talk about facilitating our own traffic, we don't think about how we impact others and how we forget how we used to impact Okeechobee Royal Palm Beach Boulevard on our neighbors to the south of us in Royal Palm Beach, when they had a 3-lane left-hand turn lane, and the traffic used to back up for miles every single morning. And they took the brunt of the acreage of this traffic. And now, with the reliever road connected to Orange Grove, as well as Persimmon, is we are taking on some of our own responsibilities with the commitment noting that that traffic will then go to the outside. Adding the addition on 60th Street is simply an additional way to flow traffic through so that people on Persimmon don't take the full impact. I am well aware, I drove down 60th Street. I am well aware that it has changed the lifestyle of those folks along 60th. And I have some other ideas when we get into that position where we can negotiate, when you actually communicate with people instead of slamming doors, to help fix some of that area the way it is. But the intersection, which is what is in front of us, of Royal Palm Beach Boulevard and 60th Street, even if you dead end 60th Street, needs to be improved. It is not safe. Simple as that. And that is what this is about. It's about an intersection at Royal Palm Beach Boulevard and 60th Street that desires improvement, needs an improvement. We need to work with the county, the county needs to continue to work with us on getting State Road 7 to North Lake, and we need to approve this permit so that we have drainage for that intersection. It's public safety. It has nothing to do with Utah West.
Through the chair. Not quite sure where to start, but I'm pretty sure you know how I feel about 60th Street. And I actually mentioned closing it off at Royal Palm Beach last time, which is part of why I'm here today. I was at the county commission meeting when I heard make the comment about previous boards giving you access to Indian Trail roads. This is not that board. My problem with 60th, taking into account Michelle's comments about public safety, and I understand the whole drainage piece, but once that's in place, we all know what will come. And with due respect to people on Persimmon being relieved, which they also deserve, tenfold will be now on 60th. So those people will now suffer. Another thing that I have considered is that there's only people living on one side of 60th versus two sides of 60th. True, but there will be so much more traffic on it. And this isn't just about Minto, it's about everyone, Minto and all of them, that we know will use 60th. That is my stance. I don't want that to become a 4-lane highway. And for the conveniences of a few living west of Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, I would like for you to go knock on doors and tell these people that live right here what's about to come their way. Because I still don't think that all of them understand. I mean, we're talking about changing more than lifestyle, in my opinion. And so, that one little drainage piece that you say that you need to enhance the intersection with a bridge, there has to be another way to work this out. You know, I'm just not for opening up the floodgates, so to speak. Well, a pause for effect, that's my teacher. Wait time.
My thing is, I was on the board when we opened up. Don't have more. Just go. 2007. I was totally against opening up those roads to a point that there's no way I'm going to go on it. Then as I looked at it, thought, you know, if we don't open them up, we're never going to get strong. And I know it's going to impact their lives. We open it up. We really haven't had a lot of complaints in here with the traffic because they understand, people that live in the road, because I've knocked those doors, they understand that that's the way we go. Now, if we never did open those up, and it's this year now, we would never be to Northwest. We're getting creeping there. And the 60th was a promise also to those people that we'd open up to spread the traffic out around, you know. And I know it is public safety, and to go any further down the 60th, you're going to have to come back to us for a permit.
Absolutely.
So any further, and it's still a dirt road, has to come back before this board. And I think an access road on the east in the future should be added for houses where they can come off. We've got trees in front, or service road, whatever you call it, where they can come out. You know, they don't have to rush into traffic. They have a little road. They can drive through. They get trees in front there. But that they still have to come back. This was all done way before Mintos was even brought up. We have to get to Northland. So we have to finish that intersection sometime. I mean, we can always block their road if that comes down the Pike later. We're only coming in just through the intersection.
I understood that the last time when we voted no.
Right, but I didn't.
You didn't?
I mean, I've been doing a lot of things. In the same way that for months and months, I denied that I was not going to approve bills. I've had time to think about it, think how things work. We need that road to State Road 7. There's no more building out here at all. We have to find ways out of here. And we have buildings all up and down Northway. They're coming through our area right now. We're the expressway for all the people who live in Northway. If you haven't noticed, that's obvious.
Public safety aside, and future in the conversation, you understand what's going to happen with 60th. 60th will look like Seminole Pratt Whitney, one of these days. Will. And by allowing this, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not going to. It doesn't matter. One thing begets the next. It's just a domino effect. It's a matter of time.
Even if you didn't allow it, it's going to happen.
That's what everyone assumes, and that's what's wrong.
It's never going to happen.
No, that's called rollover.
We don't own that road.
That man said at that county commission meeting, and he said previous boards have given access.
One moment. Mary, do we own 60th? The city trails on 60th.
So they want it.
Through the chair.
Wait,
Let me just say, 60th is a different situation from some of the other district roads. 60th, we've been maintaining that road. We have prescriptive easement. It has not been perfected. The county has acquired rights in 60th. It's a totally different situation than some of the other district roads that have been addressed. And the county is coming to this board. They are not asking for the road. They are asking for connection to the train.
That's the only thing that's the only and then I think Gary was next and Malcolm.
John, when I first was elected, I met you and pretty young lady out there by the site where I came there with Tanya Whipple, and you explained about 60th Street, and you showed me about where you were going to cut down the trees, and you showed me that the people on 60th east of Royal Palm was going to get a little more land because you were changing the road from south more to north. My problem with if you go west of Royal Palm, those people will be losing, not gaining. There was a whole group of trees on east of Royal Palm on 60th, but it's not the same story. Maybe about a quarter mile or so that there is the trees, but then you have to start going into people's yards, and they will start losing. And that's my concern. Until you come up with some type of viable way that these people, or permission from these people, unless you want to encroach, you have to, you can't just not think about our neighbors, and that's my problem. And I would like to just put that in the Royal Palm. And work on going through with this State Road 7. When you do that, come on, I'll be willing to renegotiate.
First of all, State Road 7 going North Lake requires everybody being on the same team. Just to sit back and say, come back and talk to me when State Road 7 gets to North Lake is irresponsible. I've been working on State Road 7 since I was 27 years old. I'm 44. And it's going to happen. But we all need to work together as a team. And the people in Orange Grove, Persimmons, and 60th Street deserve a relief. And I will continue to fight for that area once that road is to North Lake for them to have their neighborhood put back together the way it should be. But what's in front of us tonight is about an intersection at Royal Palm Beach Boulevard and 60th Street. And the last presentation that was here was extending the pavement, I think, closer to 120th. That is not what's in front of us this evening. That is asking, correct? We're not going to 120th anymore? Excuse me.
This is a discussion.
Right.
Not a recommendation on whether you should show what was recommended before was.
Well, I heard about pavement and the shell rock and all that stuff. If I remember the very first presentation that Mr. Webb made to us, it was maybe less than a quarter of a mile going to the west. What freaked everybody out last month is because he was just going to extend the pavement because he had extra construction dollars down to 120th and improve that road, which is a horrible sugar road that is full of water and time it rains on the afternoon. But if it band-aids everything and makes everybody feel slightly more comfortable because it's truly about the intersection improvement and not about 60th Street, let's just go back to that original presentation where I think it was less than a quarter mile to do what you needed to do for the intersection improvement of the light. And not go all the way west to 120. And that's my recommendation to get this intersection improved.
Yeah,
Taking the responsibility.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That is the only recommendation that staff can make is support what you just said. We have not given you a recommendation on the current.
So just for the drainage,
To go to within 185 feet of 120.
Remember the very first presentation?
I know. You and I talked about the curvature away from the intersection, the grade down.
That is not what we recommend.
No, that was
Okay,
the second
I know.
presentation.
We definitely need to relieve the Persimmon and Orange Grove traffic. 60th will do that. We definitely need that intersection improved. We need that bridge rebuilt. To me, it's a really old bridge. I mean, just need to replace it. So I'm not for extending pavement to 120th or anything else. We just get the permit done, and get that part taken care of so we can get on with the rest of the road. Appreciate it.
Jay, isn't it true that you told me that that's the only piece that the county needs, and then we won't have any more say? And 60th going west.
Indian Trail has a 40-foot roadway and drainage easement from 120 to 110. We do not have such an easement from 120 to 140. We have, as Mary explained, a prescriptive right that has to be adjudicated to find out what your real rights are. So we do not have something in hand that says we have an easement from 120 to 140. Neither does the county. The county would have to purchase that land from the underlying owners, which you think are all on the county, the successor there, and maybe some other company. But neither of us really know how we have control. We don't. We both have claims to some type of rights.
Madam President. Well, I agree with Mr. Floyd. There is another thing you need to consider. If I'm trying to get the road built in the future, I've got to put that water somewhere. And that somewhere is your drainage system. Because I can't get into the impact. It's just that easy. So it's got to go, so it's going to be back here, whether you own the land or don't own the land or whatever. Franklin State concept, getting into one of your canals is going to be ultimately what we're going to be asking any future improvement tied to drainage, tied to the road, if we choose to move forward. So, I mean, it's not an ownership thing, it's how the drainage is going to be handled in that local drainage.
And we can deny at that time, then, oh well.
Good, Chair? I make a motion that we,
We have questions.
set the move it to the next one.
No, it's a regular.
It's a regular agenda. I'll motion to move the 60th Street item to,
It's already on the line.
sorry. But then, I guess my motion was then to make sure that, what's in that, is that agreement the one that goes 120, just reduce it? Was it like 185 feet or something like that?
The permit application and the staff recommended and the previous issue when it goes to the last driveway, which is 185 feet east of 120. And it's paved. In my opinion, that pavement is safer than shell, especially when you take people be driving off of it. You have to do it with signage, you can't do it with a sign on the pavement mark.
So what did you just say that was safe, more safe?
The pavement,
The first
One
one,
point?
you cannot strike shell.
so the first one, not this one.
As far as I'm concerned, pavement can go to 120. I'm trying to ease some people that are knee-jerk concerned. I was just saying that go back to it, because to me it's about the intersection. So, but if you're going to tell me it's a public safety issue, I'm not going to go against public safety.
I'm saying the way that it was denied is the way the staff had recommended to be approved. The way that the current submittal is, if you're asking for a recommendation on that, I'm fully with it, but I do not like the one over there. I like the previous.
Which was the first one?
Now, the first one, not only the one, but the path that had transition. It's the second one, if you will.
But actually, what Mr. Reck has presented is bringing some changes to what the permit was. So you would be making some minor, or you would be making some revisions to that permit request to include the
Reduce to 30 miles?
Yes. And it's up to the board if you want. There's been quite a bit of discussion at this point on this item. If the board wants to make a motion to consider a 60-day permit and public comment at this time, you can make a motion to amend the agenda to consider it at this time.
So a motion to amend the agenda to consider it at this time.
For a second.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
So at this point, the matter is now the regular agenda item to consider 60th Street permit and public comment.
But, real quick, just for clarification, can we find that documentation on the second presentation the way Jay's saying it? Do we have that in the, before we get to that item?
That previously went to the board and part of public record.
Right, that's why I'm asking them to get it, so that when we get to that item, that all board members have it.
Reminder, was that from July, Jay?
2 months ago, yeah.
July.
for the issue, this is tied to something I didn't understand. We denied the permit, correct? We're not amending the denial, are we?
In actuality, there's a revision before the board is actually, there's been revisions to the permit request.
But according to Supervisor Damone that made the motion, but she's not really supposed to make the motion because she was against the whole. She wasn't part of the ones that agreed to have the permit denied. So how could she make the motion?
Right now, it's just considered on the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm just understanding.
You can thank whoever texted that.
Huh?
You can thank whoever.
I never looked at my phone, and I don't need that type of.
Okay.
I don't need your type of comments like that. That's rude.
Okay.
If you want to look at my phone here.
All right, excuse me. So are we all finished with questions? I'm good. Okay, public comment, Mike Garcia.
Can I hold that until 11:21?
That's what we're doing now. We moved it up.
We got one.
That's how we're using to it. Is it 11.0 or 11.3? The new one. I thought it's, I'm the old one. I thought it's 11. Oh my God, I'm good. I still have 11.
I think it's really disingenuous to say this was never around until Minto. It was talked about with Callaway in 2004. This isn't something that just popped out of a box. Okay? So don't even say not Minto, not Minto, not Minto. That's a crock. I remember Jay standing in this room many years ago saying we don't have enough capacity to take on more water for anybody. We don't even have the capacity to drain ourselves now. So this road is a problem. And two, Royal Palm burned off their road, so could Persimmon and Orange Grove, and they could do it until hell freezes over and run it to North Lake. See, we inconvenienced our residents, and there was no reason for it. None. Because Royal Palm didn't give an entrance, because somebody then didn't like it on their board, burned the road. And we should have gave the same courtesy to Persimmon and Orange Grove. Because 60th is a problem. It's a big problem. It's been on the board for a long time. George and I looked at it back in 2004 when I first met him. I don't know if George remembers that, but this is all started with Mecca. That's where this all started. So to act like this vacuum that Calorie never happened, and there was no charrette for that crap in his gazillion homes. It didn't. It was way before Minto. Everybody knew about 60. But if the State Road 7 never goes through, then we need to burn off our roads. I don't care. Hell can freeze over. If there's Fish and Wildlife has a problem and the sail kite ain't going to go, then burn off the roads. Burn them off. And then when State Road 7 finally goes through, because State Road 7, the Acres Reliever Road wasn't even State Road 7. Let's start there. The county built the south end, and FDOT is supposed to build the north end, because that was another sleazy scam by a commissioner who went to federal prison. This is how this all worked. We do have history here. It's a lot. But the flooding is a problem. Saying public safety, I hate pandering. I just do. Hopefully it's all better, but for 60th, it's going to be a nightmare. That's going to be much more of a nightmare than Persimmon and Orange Grove. So you got to take this into consideration. Look 10 years down the road. And I guess some people, I don't know if some people don't plan on being here. I don't know. I don't know how the world works. But this is something that shouldn't happen. Do the bridge. You could do the bridge level with the road right now. It doesn't even have to go up and over. It can be level. They built one at the end too. It's straight across, no hill. It's a miracle. So public safety, be damned. They could build a straight line right across and they wouldn't have to build a big hill. They had an accident at 63rd. Accidents happen. But as far as, how this is going, this is only inconveniencing the residents of the acreage. Your residents, your roads. We don't even have an easement between 140th and 120th. That's kind of scary. Because I know you didn't have an easement when you came down my road. You got none at all. Thank God. Thank God. Because then they can't come and take my road. But these are the problems. Persimmon, how many cars is it, George? I think it's more than 15,000, isn't it? It's more than what was anticipated.
It's been 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, but just, please start thinking about this.
Wait on public comment until this comes back. That's what I think. I always leave when it's on.
Okay.
Next is in pool.
Before you start the clock, you just took 3 minutes away from me because I had a cardigan and this. And my point was I was going to make.
Wait, stop it. You had a card in where?
I had
She got
a
it
card
right.
on the
Somebody-
regular agenda and this because this was to talk to George to find out if he has a question.
And agenda item.
So
So they both have 2 cards in for this
I
item.
had 2 cards in. So I
Okay.
have some questions and then I would like to.
All right, hang on. Where is George? Oh, okay. All right, so go ahead. You want, you just have 2 cards in for this item?
I had a card in for the presentation and a card in for the regular agenda.
Okay.
I might not need all the
6
time,
minutes.
but
Go ahead.
You got it.
I'd like to have some time. My question is, why does it have to be a 4-way intersection? The traffic that's coming that way could stop and either go north or south. George would need to know, I would assume, that I'm going to ask this question, he would need to know if that's going to be burned off there and to do the signaling and the intersection so that it would be safe. If you're considering and burning it and shutting it off some other time, it would be, in my mind, it would be better to do it now before George expends the cost for the signalization. So, and the traffic, we have intersections all over there, T intersections, all over the camp, all over the acreage. They're probably safer than the ones that are 4-way. So, my concern is, if we were to do this, I would say just burn that off there and do the drainage or whatever is necessary for a 3-way intersection. I was just going to ask if that would need to be done now. It would be cheaper for the county to design it that way now and make the decision now. That's my question for this first part of it.
The county's position is that the neighborhood on the west side of the and that those people are trying to have a safe way of accessing through the intersection of 60 and 12. Closing it off and not letting them out forces them to go down all over the whatever other streets to the south and so forth, and change the traffic pattern, and force them to continue to use the stop access to the end. Again, for what we're trying to do, we're simply trying to provide access to that part of the neighborhood to the west of the intersection. In fact, it is the safest way to provide access to that west.
Now I'm going to proceed with my comments. There are only a few houses on that street, up to 120. It's not much more than what I have on my street, and it's only on one side of the road. If they have to go around another intersection to get around there, to protect the entire strip that goes up to Seminole Whitney Road, shouldn't we do that? Shouldn't we protect those people? This would be your only chance to protect that road from being a 4-lane highway. And I think you should do it. And I believe those people will thank you for it, the ones that are inconvenienced, that are on that short strip, because their neighborhood will be a much quieter neighborhood. The rest of the people on the east side, they're going to have all the same amount of traffic. It's not going to change them at all. It's just going to be, some are going to be going to the north and some are going to be going to the south. So, in my opinion, you should just tell George, do a 3-way intersection there, block it off, and those people will go a little bit further out of the way to get out. And it's no different than any other situation that we have in the acreage where you have a dead-end street, and it's about the same amount of people. And everybody else there coming from the west that's already living there, there are other access roads they can cut across any of one of the paved roads to come in, and the traffic will still be distributed. And we will not be paving the way to Minto. This is, first off, I don't even want to see the decision made now because I think it's unfair to have the decision made right this minute because they're going to be making decisions on this thing in a month or so. And why can't we just wait on a decision? That would be my ideal thing. But if we're having to make a decision tonight, I would go for a three-way intersection and put it into that road being used to go all the way to Seminole Property Road. That is the ultimate goal, is to protect the people of the acreage and not bisect the acreage with major roads going through the neighborhood. So I don't see that it's going to be a negative thing or an unsafe thing, and that's what I would suggest that you do.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Mr. Roth? Mr. Roth? I have a question. What's the rush? Can this be held up to November for this permit?
We have to go through the bid process. It's tied to our project release as far as making sure we can move forward with it. So the idea that it gets pushed to November delays our ability to potential to open up that one piece of the
Now, if we were to, like, if you put your intersection with drainage, you're going to need drainage. To block that, do we have to have an agreement with the county?
block it as in.
Like, give you your drainage, but we'll put a berm up right after that.
Well, as your attorney said, that was our property. We own where 60th ties into our property. It's county right of way. So it's purchased to do that. So that's we're looking to make that connection for county right of way on the county right of way. So we're coming to you for a drainage permit to deal with our road that we're trying to make that connection for. So the idea of you guys taking any action on our land, I would not recommend.
How far down where it shows that we don't know who owns it yet, and can we try to buy it? A piece that's missing? There should be several pieces there that they can't. Maybe someone can sell it. But the county doesn't know who owns it.
All the way from 120 to 140.
120 to 140.
It's up on my who?
Both on the county and Viking can do it.
So is there any way that we can try to look like some of that road?
Certainly something we can look into if that's the direction we want.
Do the truth. George, my whole premise is this. I know that you want to do it to 120. All right. After 120, we do not know who has ownership. The only thing we have control of is from Royal Palm to 120. And that's why I say I would like it locked at Royal Palm until 120. After 120 is figured out who has ownership.
Okay, Linda Cart?
Alan Baldwin, he has 2 cars.
All right, 6 minutes.
You'll get it from Thomas. I look forward to that too.
First of all, I would like legal counsel to comment on whether it was a point of order regarding moving item 11.1. The permit was voted on last month, and a motion to reconsider needs to first be made by a member of the majority of the vote from last month, and seconded, and then voted upon before this motion can even be on the agenda. Is that correct?
Let me just clarify that the item that was put is on the agenda. It was a revised permit, and so it was a different permit. So no, we do not need to have a motion for reconsideration to consider the 60th Street permit. There was a revision that came back. So
I understand. There was a few...
It's a different permit that is being presented, that was presented in this agenda package. And there was also different conditions added in that was made. So in essence, it's a revision to the permit. So it's not the same permit that was denied.
I understand. It is the permit that's been revised. I'll check this out myself. My next point is that this is an opportunity to stop Minto from turning 60th Street into a major thoroughfare. Minto wants to use 60th Street to carry their traffic. According to Exhibit 3B of Minto's traffic plan, they want to put 7,328 cars per day crossing Royal Palm Beach Boulevard from west to east. Talk about a safety issue. Right now there's a maximum of 250 cars a day. They want to increase it by 40 times, 40 to 50 times. Is this a public safety issue? Absolutely. Blocking 60th Street west of Royal Palm Beach Boulevard will make it into a dead-end road, like something like 80% of the roads in the acreage already are. There are only 6 homes that would be somewhat inconvenienced by that, and I am absolutely confident that they would prefer that inconvenience and actually the privacy that a dead-end road would give them, as opposed to putting a highway through their front yard. If the board is to look at their responsibility to protect the interests of acreage residents, the only decision here is to block 60th Street somewhere to prevent Minto from turning it into a highway. Otherwise, you're just looking out for the interests of Minto. I'd also like to point out that nobody knows who really owns 60th Street, and I really like Carol's idea of investigating who owns 60th Street. And I encourage the board to make a motion about that, to direct staff to find out, and to, if possible, enter negotiations to buy rights to 60th Street. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Another part? Oh, Alex, is there anybody else? Is there anybody else? You want to go or you want to wait for it? Okay, go ahead.
John Rivera, 11096, 57 Road North. I drive that road almost every day. It is unsafe to cross. You got to take kids to the elementary school. And sometimes we can't go all the way across, so we make a right, go to 61st, make a left, go all the way around. I hope, actually, I wish it went all the way to Cinnamon Crabs. I go to my daughter's football games, straight shot, I want to go around either side. I would love to see that. Now, the only concern that I have right now is that to the east of that, right at the connection at 110 and 60th, that, I don't know what you call that, loop-de-loop, whatever they call that there, you can't turn with a horse trailer in there without climbing the curb. It's too tight. There's no way anyone can go through there with a trailer without climbing the curb. The intersection needs improvement.
I would like to see it all the way to Summer Crab.
I would say this intersection, I've never several months ago here. You said Palm Beach has invested interest stopping Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. It stirs me here that they're interested in some lots further west on the easement. And then who has an Indian trailer in Palm Beach County? So that's why I would have been there to grant easement west of the Palm Beach Boulevard. Is there a design that we could do to make that road safe that we could do and not have to grant Palm Beach County easement? But that's what I would look into if you wanted access for most of it. And the permit. I've mentioned this a long time, but I think one of the most forgets. The permit says we're supposed to build a Baggins Road completely around the legislative boundaries of this district, 10 feet wide, to prevent water migration in the surrounding areas. You own the road, you would, I don't know if it's built. But that easement, you own. You own what goes under it, what goes through it, what goes at the top of it. That could be on 60. The county is so hell bent on doing something, they went on 60th at 110 and went east to the southeast corner of Ibis. They kicked this fool for the woman in the ass and get it done. That would put pressure on and have more meetings and letters. And that's in your legislative boundary right there. That's an easy thing to do. I used to have a job I did at town center. And I was always up against big staffs and developers. And I learned the hard way. The only thing that you had, everyone else in it had lawyers, relatives, lawyers all over the place, protecting something. It's kind of a little thing. And what I found that worked the best for me was you stick to what's in writing. If you own it, you don't give it up for anything. And when people come around and want to do all this wheeling and dealing, you guys may have horses and know horses very well, but as a group, you're lousy horse traders. The history of it is lousy. And so I would hate to see you give up an easement for any purpose other than to protect this again. Thank you.
How many study are there that 16886 West Elm Blackmore Road? I'm a little confused because the talk here tonight was that the permit is for drainage purposes, yet the permit doesn't have any language about drainage at all. And so I would think that if we're talking about drainage, that's all you would be asking for in the permit, but it says nothing about that. Instead, what it talks about is building a road. And when it goes back into history, that road was originally supposed to be 3 lanes according to what the county wanted. And this board, in March 2013, issued a permit for the east portion of 60th. They purposely separated the permit into 2 permits. And there was a reason for that. Obviously, there was some discrepancy about what you wanted to do on the west side. Okay? One of the things is, it says in November, part of the discussion was not taking the road all the way to 120th, that this board wanted landscaping to reduce the lanes from 3 to 2 and the speed limit of 30 miles per hour with traffic calming signage at Royal Palm Beach and equestrian signage. In the response from the county on February 6, 2013, it says that they'll agree to do that. However, once open, we will conduct the appropriate studies to determine if the posted speed limit requires adjustment. I'm a little concerned about that wording. If you take a look at where it talks about the 2 lanes, they also suggest that it's not going to stay 2 lanes for long. It seems to me when I looked on PAPA that our residents actually pay taxes to Indian Trail and to the county for the road that's there. Now, the county may own a portion on north of where the road exists, but we own the road in front of people's homes, the road that they're driving right now. We have control over that. I suggest you take a close look at the history here, and that there's lots of things that are written in the discussions and the permits that are concerning. One other thing is this permit may be subject to revocation at the discretion of the district at any time. The level of service for 60th Street North as a 2-way roadway exceeds Palm Beach County level of service D peak hour. I believe that same promise was made for Persimmon and for Orange Grove, and yet what has this board done about it? What has the county done about it?
Thank you. Anybody else?
Alex.
Go ahead, Alex.
We all moved out here for quality of life, but if you're going to be giving away the easements of the residents, I think you better be calculating a big old refund for that. For every dollar they've ever paid you, because they own, the easement is a right for you to do what you need to do with drainage and roads, but it's not to give away these people's land that they're paying taxes on. It's a granting of an easement. It's to give you the option to help us or not help us. That's what it is. It isn't your land. It's not owned by Indian Trail. It's owned by the landowner. And with all due respect to Mr. Rivera, I don't want it to go to Seminole Pratt because this board agreed to take a north-south road that was needed for traffic off the map a few years ago, 140th. And now we want to put everything on Seminole Pratt. And guess what? The people on Seminole Pratt don't want it. I can guarantee you that. I've talked to those people and they're crying because of the traffic. So convenience wasn't why we moved here. I knew I had to drive 6 miles to the grocery store. I knew I was going to have to drive around and go somewhere. You know, I didn't demand that my road be paved when I had a horse. You know, this is how these things work out. It's cause and effect. Just take it into consideration what an easement is. And for this, you know, mystery of juggling between 120th and 140th, I hope the people between 140th and 120th come out to the board with both barrels. It's their land. You're a drainage district. The roads are a problem. George did with Persimmon 15,000 cars. I think it's more, isn't it, George? Yeah, I remember real good, George. The Rolodex works every day. It's very sad. No one would want 15,000 cars in front of their house. Those people were told to give up. I have the newspaper articles, and you can sit up there and laugh all you want. You know? Yeah, I know. But it's like, no, this is wrong. Please think about this and what we really are and what your people really want. Do you want somebody for the convenience of others? I don't think that's how we should be thinking anymore. It's for the convenience of everybody. How it affects everybody. Because why would we say it all has to go over here when it should all go over there? You know, because other people might say, well, it all should go down another street that might really affect all of you. You know what I mean? So please take that into consideration. It doesn't have to be done. Put a berm up. You can put a berm up right at State Road 7. Just like Rural Pond did. And then when they build into North Lake, we'll open up the roads. But then that decision won't be made by a developer or anybody with a different idea, and then your residents might thank you. So please think about that. Really, because you have a real problem with your easements. I've been asking them for them since 2004.
No, we're not giving up easements. The county owns ITID. We have a drainage easement, which we retain full drainage roadways, which we retain full rights to. There is no transmission of any easements from any trail to anybody in this town.
What does the drainage easement accomplish? Like you told me, what does it accomplish?
The purpose is to drain the road.
What road?
60.
And
Well, of course, 120 when you get that far over, or you have 110.
that's because there's a lot of blockage at 120 right there where that waterfront sits.
We do have a problem at 120.
To the chair.
Chair, if we built the road to 120, right? After 120th, Indian Trail has no claims because it's Royal Palm Beach Garden, Royal Palm Beach Colonies. So at that point, if they built the 120th and after 120th, we have no control. Could they widen the roads anytime they like once they start building roads?
We're getting into a little bit of legal side of this, but I said earlier that we have prescriptive rights that haven't gone into court. So we do have some rights because we do maintain that road map. We don't have an easement from those people. Between 120 and 140, there is no 40-foot easement. They have been using the 80-foot all these years. We've been maintaining it. There was a tri-party agreement when the school went in between the school board to to pave a piece of it from 1/40th to, I think, 1/30th. So,
I think all the way to Avocado. Yeah, it's all broken up from the
there are varying interests, as Lewis said earlier, regardless of the rights of anybody to a road, they still need to get drainage. You can't take roadway drainage for what it's like now. Whoever develops that road will have to come down to get a permit for the drainage.
So, would it be in Indian Skills rights just to get in it and walk on? Because 2013, when I first came on the board, I voted to build at 60th Street east of Royal Palm. And at that time, when I met with you guys, you said it would stop at Royal Palm. So don't you have the right to just dead end it and wait till all the legal litigation finish? Because to me, I think it's dead end, and I think that I saw our citizens down there complaining. This has nothing to do with the Minto issue, but I saw them complaining about the traffic that Minto was going to create. And they really didn't listen to us. And now that we have 60th Street, and it will create a lot of traffic, and our citizens have the right to expect us to look out for them. And I think I will say it again, dead end it, until we figure out.
You don't have the right to do it.
Yes, we do. Do we have the right to dead end at Royal Palm?
I am your district engineer, and I should answer this question, but I will give you, let me give you an example. You don't own the land, you don't own, you've given up your property rights for Royal Palm. You could, in my opinion, and legal can shoot me in the head later, you could pass a permit that says that's a stop. The county would have to accept it. You cannot physically put a block, in my opinion, on somebody else's land. You could pass a permit, but they have to reverse.
I have a question for you. When Royal Palm Beach years ago was given to the county, did we keep our easements?
It was conveyed because they contributed a large amount of money to the construction of that road. Part of that, there was a conveyance to the county for that. There is a loop that was conveyed to the county. And everyone needs to also understand at that time that there was complaints by the residents out here that they were paying impact fees to Palm Beach County and they were not receiving impact fees. They weren't receiving Indian groups. And that there was a very strong urge for the county to come out and to provide some of the infrastructure out in this area. So the residents out here were not going to bear the sole cost of those improvements. So the times have changed, but at that time there was a very, very strong push to make sure that that was done, to make sure that this area did get its fair share of the tax.
That was awesome because it's not just a big building out there. People wanted to come out and build, and they just have the infrastructure in place to get out to, let's say, Avocado and Orange and Mackford. And that's why that was developed. Market Briar arrived, but that wasn't part of it. There's some of the
Is there anyone else? Oh, you want a garden?
Oh, just general.
We'll have general. Is it in reference to 60th in your general? So, any more residents that didn't get a garden? All right, I'll pass the gavel. Ralph? I believe it's on.
No, we're going to go back to that item.
What about now?
We're on it now.
We're on it. Sure, we're not done. I'll motion to accept.
That's second.
recess. I'm doing good now.
What's happening?
How you doing now?
Fine.
Doing the bluegrass again. Yeah, he's still going to do the jazz.
Respect me. That's good for
You want to sip? I'm going to
Restart the meeting. We have some additional comment cards.
Mike Erickson?
Mike Erickson, 1397288, Place in Northwest Palm Beach, Florida. This is a tough one because, you know, it's interesting. A lot of people, I mean, I've never taken a position in the past, nor will I in the future, about blocking 160th from our own residents. 60th, I'm sorry. On the other hand, this is about the intersection of Royal Palm Beach. This is about a permit to get drainage. They're building it on their own property. It's not like they're taking Orange or Royal Palm Beach. The county has a right for that property. The reality is Indian Trail tends to, over the years, be reactive rather than proactive. Proactive would be going to court and finding out what our rights are west. It would be getting that property under our name if we want to have some rights in the fight down the road. On the other hand, we don't have much of a leg to stand on from a legal standpoint here. Not only that, but you start to block off roads and you start to run into other safety and life issues within the community. Let's face it, from day one, I was a proponent of State Road 7 in North Lake, and this whole community has been for a long, long, long time. This is linked to that connection. We've got to get to North Lake. The county, in this permit, it has language that even reinforces the county making sure it gets to North Lake. There is nothing in this permit that says if it fails, if down the road they say, no, we're just going to stop at 60th. At that point in time, you have, based on your own permits for the 3 connections, including this one, you have a right to block that road. It will end up in court, but you have a leg to stand on because the permits were based on it getting to North Lake. 60th is a road for us. State Road 7 is a road for us. Is there additional capacity on State Road 7 that you can manipulate and spin the concept that we're building it for developers? Sure, you can spin that, but the reality is the traffic patterns and everything, even the traffic study to justify State Road 7 doesn't have additional mental car traffic involved in it. It's the 3,000 that's been approved, and it's our own people. We've got to get State Road 7 to North Lake. but we do not need to be delaying the 60th Street connection. You heard from your own engineers and your own lawyers that you have rights down the road to block things. Don't do it with this intersection. Let's get the intersection done and at least get our 60th connection finished. Thank you.
John Harris, 1279377 Place North. I think 60th and Persimmon need to go through to Seminole Pratt. We also need to get State Road 7 going out to North Lake. Nickel hasn't built one house out here, and in the last 7 years since the high school's been built, or 8 years, traffic on Seminole Pratt's been terrible. All the kids that live out west have to come down, come up through Warren, or go out to Okeechobee. The only two ways they have to go to that school. That's why it's backed up so far. The county and Indian Trail should have done something with Seminole Pratt when that school was built, or before that school was built, to alleviate some of the traffic. But 60th and Persimmon need to go through Seminole Pratt, so to get the traffic off road to the kids. I said, these kids have to leave half an hour, 45 minutes early to get to school. It's a 10-minute ride. You're sitting in traffic for 35 minutes because people are trying to come off the side road that don't go through. Those roads need to go through, and State Road 7 needs to go through. People from Ibis, whatnot, they're coming down Coconut to go to Royal Palm. They're not going out and going through the B-line and that. They're coming through our community. State Road 7's there, they can use State Road 7. That road needs to go through.
We can sit here and say that it's not about Minto. Timing is perfect. We're opening up the door. If we were supposed to fix 60th, then we should have done it a long time ago. Not now. Now the timing is suspect. It's a fact. No matter what anybody says. Traffic's bad, but you see what we say. Broader than thinking about traffic. What's happening now is we have to deal with the fact that this builder needs this road. And they're going to use us. And they're going to use the other roads that they don't own, that you don't own, that the county doesn't own, but we the residents do. And this is going to open the floodgates. The timing is unbelievable. And I don't think most of us are naive. is FEMA and those flood maps. And I looked at those flood maps. What perfect time to price everybody out. This isn't an accident. These people are very, very shrewd, and they know exactly what they're doing. And we are not going to help them do it. You know, she mentioned about the Native Americans. The Seminoles, they were warriors. They got pushed all the way down to Florida. They weren't here because they wanted to, but they put their heels in. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And that's what I recommend that we do. We can fix 6 years down the line. But we don't have to do it for this builder. Let's get a builder to do something for a change. Let them talk to the residents and ask what they're going to do about using our road. My road, a 1/6 of an acre is that easy. And that's an easement that you are allowed to maintain, but that I own and I pay taxes on, and so do my neighbors. And if you take that away and it's obeying or taking, then that's less than an acre. Then you can start calling this the acre. And you know who doesn't care about that? The builders, the people who think they're going to get a job. But we don't want it. And I don't want 60 kids now for that reason. I'm full and neither are we.
Thank you. Trish Watkins.
Trish Watkins, 14613, 97th Road North. As you can tell by my address, 60th really is far from me. Doesn't affect me one way or the other. However, something Mike Erickson said about us being proactive really struck a chord. A lot of these things that we're talking about doing now needed to be done years ago. Why they weren't done, I don't know. I can only assume because people thought like they find everything. We've got 38,000 people out here. We talked about having 15,000 cars on the road. We need more east-west roads. Simple as that. That road needs to go through. Whether or not it goes through the Seminole Track, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea. It probably wouldn't happen anytime soon. But the additional traffic from development isn't going to happen anytime soon either. We need these roads now. We needed them 5 years ago, regardless of development. Every discussion that we have doesn't have to be because of Minto or because of GL. These things needed to be done a long time ago. So I urge you to do them now, please.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in here that may live on 60th? All right.
To the chair. I'd like to make a motion. The motion would be, and I don't know if this is right or not, they need drainage for the road. So I make a motion to give them drainage and stop the road at Royal Palm.
I'd second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Madam Chair,
I've been actually trying to wait to save this conversation, hoping that after the elections there will be some different thinking along this board. We have to think about 10, 15, 20 years from now. We can't just think about tomorrow. And this street, this permit for this intersection has absolutely nothing to do with Minto. There is other avenues, excuse me. There are other avenues to the west of this intersection that you have the ability to do something about later on if you choose to. But what I don't hear is ideas. I hear glorified cheerleaders complaining all the time, and I never hear solutions, ideas, thoughts, being proactive, as far as Supervisor Harrison said tonight. If you do nothing, you will have more impact to this community, and you will lose the quality of life that you think you're sitting here and saving by shutting your eyes and just saying that. You will have roads that connect to Persimmon, to Orange Grove. You will have roads out west. Have anybody thought about that? That connects to Temple or Key
don't want traffic infiltrated throughout the entire acreage. I want to be a visionary, I want to be a leader, I want to make tough decisions, and I want to make a decision that's in the best interest of the entire community and not just a select few. And I am sick and tired of sitting at this podium with people who cannot think for themselves, or think outside the box, or be leaders, or be visionaries, or think down the road. Because I don't. Am I talking to you?
Stop
I'm
yelling.
tired of glorified cheerleaders.
Stop yelling. She doesn't need to yell.
I'm very passionate.
Don't yell. Don't yell.
Don't interrupt me. Sit there and be a good little girl.
Oh, that's not. One second. Correct, and I'm going to have it after her.
Anyway,
Are you really? Okay.
all I've ever heard from you since you want to do this is rah, 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 no, no, no. And I have never, since you've been on this board, heard one idea.
Because you always
I'm still talking. I'm still talking.
Excuse me.
I'm still talking.
If we need to have a directive, not
That's
for
fine.
individual.
That is fine. Because I just, you get to the point of frustration. Just sitting, it's so easy just to say no. It's so easy to be argumentative, but it's difficult to actually have an idea. It's difficult to actually offer a solution. It's difficult to disappoint some people in your community when you have to make tough decisions. It is so easy to leave it to the backs of others to make decisions that are difficult. It is extremely difficult. It takes a visionary, a leader. It takes somebody to come up with ideas, and they are complicated. They're not easy. You don't make everybody happy all the time. But you've got to think ahead. I don't want traffic on Keyline, Temple, or Orange. I don't want it on Persimmon and Orange Grove. But this permit in front of us is about an intersection. And somehow, it's so easy to mucky up the waters and make it sound like it has to do with mental illness, or make it so compassionate. But I don't see ideas. I only hear complaints. I only hear rah, 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 no, no, no. And I'll give you an example. 2 years in a row, I've given you an opportunity to run with equestrian trails by offering a $25,000 budget with a 5-year plan, and you couldn't do anything with that. And I've listened to you.
Don't make me
read and
dumb.
post, excuse me.
No.
Read and post that we don't have the equestrian trails that are glorified.
One at a time. Let her finish, then you can talk.
But we
It's about me now, not 68.
Wait, we need to focus not on individual supervisors.
I'm sorry, but it is very difficult to sit here. I have sat
Difficult for you.
multiple boards with some of the most intelligent people. People that I wanted to learn from through the years, and then just sit here and listen to crap.
Yep, I've been listening to crap too. From you.
Right? I remember the first 2 years you never took your board book.
No. I have everyone reading. I want her to talk. She talked to me all you want.
Address that
in the meeting.
Not back and forth.
Yes. I don't think that that's fair, first of all. Okay? For her to accuse me of these things up here on this panel. Alright?
Wait.
And if we're going to start talking about who's getting ideas from whom, I would like to know why this woman continues to receive text messages from her husband. All of that is what I need to say. That's fine.
Here's my phone. Read it.
Each rep wants to
Here's my phone. Let her read it. Let her read it. I think she's calling you an effing idiot most of the time. Here, I have my phone.
I think that we should do it.
I take you 2 hours.
I'm not going to sit here and take it. I'm not doing it.
Time, 5 minutes.
Right, take the meeting off to 20.
I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not listening to it.
The yelling is causing feedback in the system.
I'm glad it worked.
Can we take,
Are we
well,
trying
now,
to recess?
we're recessing. Do I have a motion to recess? Second. All in favor? Okay.
Another recess.
You.
It's going to be good for her election.
We disagree.
talk with your clerk.
Well, I would recommend that the supervisors.
We're going to stay that way. I'm not chasing seats now. Do you almost
You still want the checks read into public record too.
That's right.
Tell Mary, you want it read into public record.
Peace, love, and music. That's what we need. Woodstock in the acreage. So. Yeah, Trevor Cole. I'm kidding. Just like you have to run over to use the people. Yeah, I know. You need to have something in it.
My birthday today, happy birthday to me, and I have three slices of cake left. So, I'm 59. There's another slice of cake here if anybody like it. So I don't know if it's a misunderstanding. I agree that this ain't all one. I think there's more different First of all, there's 3,000 houses. They got traffic for it.
Well, at least we didn't break anything. It's not a party, so it's fine. All right. Meeting is at 9:05. Where are we at?
Public input. Well, I believe it's at the conclusion of public input and that we're at the point of having board discussion.
And I made a motion that did not pass. And my motion was to the drainage only and leave the road up to Royal Palm Beach until we can come with the county and negotiate and try and come up with something after 120th because that road is still untitled. If we as Indian Trail can get the rights for after 120th, then we can negotiate with the county much better. At this point, we have no clue east or west of 60th what's going on. West of Royal Palm what's going on. I used to own a piece of property in Fort Myers. and next to my property was an easement. I was landlocked. But I know once you keep on using, the public keeps on using that piece of land, it turns to public. Once you let the county start using that road, it turns, after 7 years, it turns county. So until we come up with all the legal advice that we need to protect our citizens and our properties, because again, this thing about we own to the middle of the road, this is not a fallacy. I would love for us to go to the Seminole, but until we know that we're in the right to go to Seminole, I think let the county go ahead and do their drainage. Let's grant that permit and let them stop. Since we can't put up a physical barrier, let them put in the contract and let them stop to Royal Palm Beach. We can then look at this situation later, because right now we're not going to get no place and it's 9 o'clock.
Your motion failed, but there's another motion.
Well, Chair, this is a response to Supervisor Duncan. That's where I went back to saying, because there are Western kids out there, you come on the other side of it, they didn't get it that way. You look at that intersection improvement, right? And you look at it at Royal Palm Beach, 60th Street. And you look at the north-south, you look at the east-west. You can't just out there, I don't care how many feet it is, whatever engineers can come up with the least amount that's safe. Because I hear what you're saying. But you still have to do something on that left side, even if it's, and I'm just throwing this number out, I'm not an engineer nor do I pretend to be 40 feet. You don't have to go, you can compromise, you don't have to go 120, you don't have to go that far. I think that's actually what provoked everybody to be so sad. It's just whatever meets the needs of that intersection only minimally to make it safe, go in that direction, and then not do another improvement in what?
That sounds reasonable, but everybody was talking about 120th, and when I met with George Webb when he was making, hey George, you're not used to Indian Trail meetings, huh? Get used to them. Oh yes, oh yes, yes. When I met with Mr. Webb and I voted for that east part of 60th Street from the Turnpike to 60th, at that time, from State Road 7 it's 9:30, 9 o'clock. From State Road 7 to 60th, I was told at that point that it was only going to go, if we go in a matter of feet in 60th, that's okay. I can see that being, it have to be paid. But for us to go more than a matter of feet for safety reasons, no. Because I understand, even when it comes to our roads in the acreage, we have to have some pavement once we leave the dirt road to get some type of traction. That makes sense.
George, do you have any ideas to try to find a compromise here from what you're hearing from Supervisor Duncan?
Well, I think it's one to just restate. This project has been in our 5-year plan. The limits are to, I think it's west of 60. There are no other continuations. You will not find any other project in our 5-year plan. I do not plan on putting any other project in our 5-year plan as far as constructing any further west. So the focus is on the intersection. When we started this process, we thought we were doing good things. We were going to be paving a shell rock road. That has typically been received well in communities when you come in to pave the shell rock road. We thought we were going to be assisting in drainage improvements in the area that has known drainage problems and so forth. So we came forward to do this, and we thought we were doing the right thing. Then we've had the discussion of, well, there for different reasons, we don't want you guys to do the whole distance. And so we backed off. For different reasons, we don't want you to be this wider road. We backed off. So we continue, we think, to listen, and we continue to compromise as far as this project is concerned. We do want access to the rest of the intersection. I think I'm here tonight to say if we should talk to Jay and or your staff or whatever to talk about potential other options, give us an opportunity to do that. So we can talk about shrinking and seeing how far, and who doesn't want it? I mean, they're going to the last driveway now. Maybe the last 2 driveways, people don't want to pave the road in front of their house. Well, maybe they do. You know, maybe it's just up to us to at least contact them and say, you know, hey, you know, we at least need to make this known to the officials here, both at the county and the board of supervisors, you know, what the people who are actually on that road expect or want. So, you know, I think what I'm offering is to continue to have discussions, to continue to do our homework, and to try and produce the best product for this area. If that road intersection improvement, whatever length it is, happens and nothing ever happens, that's fine. So the west of the area, you guys buy it, don't buy it, doesn't get built or whatever, hey, at least that connection is there for the residents to use, and they have a paved road going to their houses. So, you know, when you say what's looking out there, I guess I'm offering more time. I'm offering the ability to sit down and continue, at least for some interim period of time, to try and make this happen.
Through the chair. I was going to make a motion. I make a motion that George and staff get together and come back with some new solutions.
I was going to second and bring it back to October, Cheryl.
We have a few other things going on in the county that it would be better for us to do.
Okay, for November.
And this is where I think we're going to agree to, is that just keep the whole 120 thing off. I don't mind if you take the letter, but just at least come back with it all. I think the letters is the correct way to do it. And then I just think, Jay, for the sake of time, just to look at the alternatives. It was 45 feet or whatever it was. I remember the first one didn't go that far west. And I can't remember how many feet it was. I mean, should we go that fast?
Let me clarify this. The new road is up here. The existing road is down here. To get it from here to here takes, even with a reverse curve, somewhere you're going to have to be within about 300, 350 feet of one point.
Just ignore me. That was Supervisor Duncan's motion. I seconded, just do the letters. Do the letters.
Come back with us.
All in favor?
October.
November.
November.
Aye.
I know you'd be glad to retire, eh, Georgia?
It's part of the job.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so make sure the letters are.
Yes, we'll be making those.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're at 7.3, software update.
Yes, ma'am. Don's done some research, and I think we've got a short PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, this is thank you, Jim and supervisors. I recently attended an FGFOA conference, and a couple of the speakers there are IT people and finance directors who have set up in their city governments and county governments software that allows people to drill down and see what's, open up fiscal transparency for residents to go in and see exactly what the government's spending money on. So I wanted to show you a couple of the things that they have done, let you know what's going on, and then go from there and see what happens. Now, with transparency fears, there's a couple fears from our staff. There's going to be more work for the finance staff, more questions for the finance staff, and we have a fear of putting up inaccurate or incomplete data. And then there's some other unknowns. Realize once we do get it up, what are they going to want after we put it up? Are they going to keep coming back? Okay, we want this, this, and this too. And so it's going to continually be a building process. So it's always an ongoing concern. But now with one of the speakers at the presentation, the benefits. This is for all transparency, for all government, not just financial. It does reduce staff time to complete public records requests. It improves customer service. It builds trust within the community of the government. We're fully transparent. Our citizens will trust us more, and it'll build a better relationship among the community. There's some other things in there. Understand our community needs better. We have more interaction with the citizens. We can help empower citizens. Like I said, increases the level of trust when there is transparency. Can help boost our economy. If there's a good government in place, everything's open, people are more willing to go locate there and run a business because they can trust the business, the government that's running it. The two people that did put the presentations on, one of them is from Longboat Key, and then the other one is the Pinellas Clerk in Court. And I pulled their websites up. On the screen, you'll see Town of Longboat Keep, they have a tab right here. You can click on fiscal transparency. And what happens is it pops up to where their budget. Now what this does is it shows you a percentage of how much the actual budget is spent based on the date. So for example, the budget year elapsed of 94.25%, everyone's budget ends on September 30th for local counties and municipalities. On top here, you have all the different funds that they have for a city. We have a lot less than this, but you're able to pick which fund you want to see and drill down. You can choose revenues or you can choose expenses. And if you click on, it has the budget year-to-date actual for the actual year that they're in right now. If you click on the one that shows this is the actual expenses, property taxes, other taxes, they have the budget, and then they have the year-to-date actual, how much they've spent for the year. Now, if we go to expenses, and the account summary, what happens is that it'll show you what they've done there. Now, the lady who developed this, her name was Kathy Pletsky. She's the IT director with the Town of Longboat Keep. She developed all the software herself. They have their own IT department. So she was able to link this to their accounting software and develop the software in order to drill down and do all this. And what this shows is a 5-year prior actual amounts. They have their approved budget and they have the budget, and so they give you 5 years of information to look at and see the different amounts that have been spent during the year, how much has gone up or down. And if you can click on you can click on something like a workers' comp, and it'll give you a code of it'll build a chart for you, how much has been spent, the number of years, how much is by each department, town clerk, and it goes down by department. So it's a nice little tool to see on a budget to actual basis. There's not really, you can't say, okay, who did these people pay for, you spent $20,000 to fix your car. Who were your vendors? This doesn't allow you to do that. So there's not that total transparency to see, okay, who are we spending our money with? Now, I was able to go, the second speaker was the Pinellas County Clerk of Court. A lot bigger budget, a lot bigger IT department. And what they have done, if you click on spending in the sunshine, is they have adopted a system that does allow you to drill down and see exactly who their vendors are, exactly how much they've spent per vendor. It doesn't show you the actual invoice, but you can see, okay, they wrote a check for this much, and you're able to see exactly who their vendors are. They also have a list of the salaries for every employee in Pinellas County. You can go through and see. Now, they do have, both of these, if you'll notice, do have a disclaimer for the inaccurate or incomplete data. You got to put that on there. But if you click on, say, expenditures, and what they do is have a little a video to show you exactly how to go through it, each one, and it explains to you. And if you have a spending by vendor, if you go down to the bottom of the page, you're able to pick which department you want to pick. If there's a specific project, you want to see how much they've spent, which year they spent it, the fund. You can put in any vendor's name. I've had this up, and then you can see, okay, 600 Cleveland LLC, they spent $179,000. If you click on that, it goes and it shows you, okay, what exactly the number of invoices that were used. It takes a little time, it's a little slow, but it does show you, but it's a lot more detailed as far as what it is. It's a lot more investment on the side of an entity to get it done to do that. But I think this one, he said, with this team of IT people, it was over $100,000 to develop this software and the time it took in order to put it in place. The one with Longboat Key, now I spoke with this lady last week. She's in the process right now of trying to develop a template to pass around to all the governments and local and special districts in the state of Florida that would make available to us the ability to be able to implement this ourselves, where we don't have to go out and hire. What it would be right now is we'd have to go out to bid, hire an IT people to come in here, prepare all the software so it'll tie into our accounting software, be able to pull everything up so it's accurate and we can trust it. I think I was talking to this lady, she's more than willing to come here and put on a demonstration for us and show us which development of her software. This is something I think every local government, every county, every in the state, they're all looking to do this, give us financial transparency, so there's nothing to hide. And yeah, and it's pretty basic software. Once it gets up and running, I think it's get developed, and I think she's in the right direction. She gives demonstrations all the time, and we're looking to do that in the near future.
What is the process?
Right now,
I was about to say, what's the dollar amount?
this one, I believe, would be around in the ballpark of $40,000 to develop this software. She's looking, but like I said, she's developing it right now with a lot of other IT departments throughout the state, and I think she's talking about making it available to the local governments at a lot less than that. Once it's already written, instead of going from individual government to government where they have to create their software individually, have one package where each government can say, okay, I need that package. We can plug it in, and it'll be a lot less fees.
To the chair, what type of research have you done other than custom? Because there is a whole lot, thousands of local governments, and they run into the same problem. What type of research have you done that's ready-made software?
I haven't talked to any specific software vendors to see what's out there that we can plug it into our software system we have right now, put it onto our website. I have not looked now. I can do the research and come back to you.
Please do the research and come back, because we're not the only local government that has this type of situation. And before you come and say 40 grand, at least do the research to say, well, I found this company and this company, and this is the only way that we can go.
Yeah.
Do it proper for you to come and say, well, she can do it without the research. I think that's not good.
It would probably involve us purchasing new accounting software rather than trying to implement something into our own, right? John?
That's one of the possibilities. If it's
and that's an expensive prospect.
No, well, I think you're putting the cart before the wagon. First, do the research to see if you have something that can integrate with what you already have, and then you say, well, it's going to be we have to do this.
So this is
don't bring one suggestion to me. Bring more than one, and which one is the most cost effective?
I was asked to put on a demonstration to show what is available out there now for financial transparency, what some other governments are doing. And that's what I was showing. I didn't want to come back and say, okay, this is what we recommend doing. I can come back and do that. It's not a problem to see what else is out there. I'll definitely continue looking into it.
He's doing exactly what he asked.
He's
doing exactly what he asked. Just give us an example of what's out there. And then if we want to go further.
Yeah, I'd like to go further too. I would like this to have.
You still didn't do enough research for us to come to the board, because 40,000 is a lot of money, and we have a lot of expense, and we have to start thinking wisely when it comes to spending. We have the attorneys, we have for the professionals.
I don't think the presentation was to say, okay, we want to do this. I was trying to give you an idea.
Oh, okay.
This isn't a basic.
Oh,
I
okay.
was going to say, we just give you an example or a presentation. If you wanted to proceed further, then you could go out with 3 different people or 3 different possibilities, and then you do what you're looking to do.
But the whole thing is transparency. We want the public to be able to look at the figures at all times and know that we are doing what we are supposed to do. Okay. But on the website.
Yeah, this would be the software to help you get to that. That's the direction the board gave us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only suggestion I was going to make is I've seen the results of the school districts using trying to interlock different softwares together and come up with something that talks to itself. And it spends tens and hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. And the reason why I'm asking is because, well, who's our vendor's core company now?
Our accounting software is Sage software. And then I was talking to our IT guy that comes out here and helps us, and he was, there's firewalls that have to be put in. The flow of information is only go one way, not 2 ways. And there's a lot of things that I'm not familiar with from a computer standpoint.
Another reason why I'm asking is because there's IT people that are needing to small business.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
not just.
I mean, these are just really rough figures.
I understand where you're going, and I know what I'm basically doing. I agree.
you were talking, you said records management. This is more of a financial spreadsheet type thing. I was thinking that you're going to present, be able to see the actual documents that you're working with, like invoices and receipts and things like that. You know, like scans.
That's coming down the line. Like the city of Green Acres, they scan every one of their invoices and put it on their,
Because that's where the transparency lies. I mean, getting a list of what you've spent doesn't tell us really that much, except just showing you where you are on that date. And I think there's, for what our district needs, you probably could just do a PDF file from your financial system that shows that spreadsheet like on a monthly basis and post it for a lot less cost. Because this, believe me, when you start going into these financial systems like this, it's very costly. And but anyway, I think you could probably do some of what you want to do, only not have it real time for a lot right now without the cost. And the difficult part will be the time-consuming part of scanning individual invoices and receipts and the paper documents that you handle and having that available so that you don't get records requests. That would be the real time-consuming part. But you could still do that with a lot less cost with some of the tools that are available, like Adobe-type tools and things like that. So that was one thing.
The other thing was you're going to have somebody that knows a little bit about financing, because they're going to have to know where each invoice goes, what department, the breakdown, what the 3 bids were, or more bids, and so forth like that. So they're going to have to be completely transparent.
Yeah, and how to pull it up. Vendor A has to be able to search it if you're using a PDF.
Right now, we're mentally transparent.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you very much for the research. Public input.
Search card, Rick,
Burns. Good evening. I'm Rick Burns, 16356 Secretary Drive. I'm a ham radio operator and a member of the Amateur Radio Relay League. The Amateur Radio Relay League was started to promote and advance the art and science and enjoyment of amateur radio. They've been around since 1914, and they have 161,000 members right now. They're the largest organization that represents ham radio operators in the world. And I've been appointed as a local government liaison for the ARRL in Palm Beach County, which means that I could help to coordinate between people trying to, say, put up antennas and towers and local government permitting. And we probably don't permit towers here anymore. We've got drainage and roads and things like that. But nonetheless, there might be other issues that might come up. And I just wanted to make you aware that if you need some help with that, I'm not an expert on all of this, but my position as volunteer would be to coordinate and find the right person, the right expert to work with this. I'm also active in amateur radio emergency communications, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services, also known as ARES. I'm serving as their training officer right now for Central Palm Beach County. I'm also on the board of directors of the West Palm Beach Amateur Club, who maintains the radio repeaters that are used by the emergency communications groups, the amateur radio communications groups. And I'm also active in the last acreage cert and the last extra road cert. I just want to introduce myself, make myself available should you need any assistance with any alternate emergency communication between government and non-government groups, or anything with zoning.
Thank you.
I have contact information if you'd like to or anything like that.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All the motions received,
You
Alex Larson?
might want to
damned because I go to the county. So this is going to help Tim and Michelle and everybody else. Because in the ULDC on August 28th, they took the ramification is subdivisions no longer have to build their own parks or recreation. Okay? They lined it out. 115 of the ULDC, and since we're the ones with all these parks we're paying for, I'm not going to give you any parks either. I'm not going to build a dog park. I'm not going to expand the park. These are absolutes that were in the ULDC. So I think we need to put the brakes on a couple of things. Because I was really saddened when I read this. I'm like, Jesus, they're building a giant subdivision. But there is. They took away the language. It's lined out. Tim has it. Everybody can get a copy. But I'm not building a dog park on Seminole Craft. Because not until we find out what the ramifications are. Because if they're going to build a 3,800 acre nightmare in the middle of us, I'm not going to pay for their parks. I don't think anybody here should pay for their parks. Because we built those parks. We paid for those parks. And that's not for some, group of 38,000 people to start using them too. Unless they're going to pay for them. So unless Seminole Improvement District becomes an Indian Trail Improvement District, that's not going to happen. Because that's what happens when I go to these meetings. Believe me, I pay attention and I listen really good. And there's nothing up my sleeves. It's in my head. So, the stuff that's going on, I hear this stuff. I sit at the MPO, I sit at the Water Resources Task Force, I sit at the South Water Management District, and I just see the people in the acreage getting screwed. I have no other word for it. I can't think, I have other words, but I can't say them up here, as per George Carlin. But this is really sad. No, I really have to edit myself because everybody who knows me personally knows how I talk. I do not hold back.
You actually filmed it?
We're here, and I'm going to try to cover a couple of things here tonight because this is something that is detrimental to us. If they're going to build a giant subdivision and they don't have the prerequisite in the language to build the parks, they're not coming here. I'm not paying for it. And I will, the one thing everybody in this room knows about me, I will do flyers, I will fly banners behind planes, and I do sue. I'm up in Tallahassee on the 30th with the Public Service Commission trying to save us from smart meters. On my own dime. I don't get paid, ladies and gentlemen.
Excuse me.
I
would
save my 20 seconds for FEMA. That's all.
I just wanted to add. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
All right. Could I have a copy of that? Tim, could you make a copy for me, please? And what does it mean?
It means they don't have to have parks and recreation. The language is very plain. It's been lined out. It's been deleted from the ULDC, which is the Unified Land Development Code of this county. And when a subdivision was built in the old days, they had to have parks. They had to have recreation. They had to have bike paths. They had to have the craft. Well, the craft's gone. It's all gone. So this crap that we're going to build more parks, no. I want the brakes put on anything extra until we stop this with Seminole Improvement District. Because there's some real problems here. And the FEMA maps, if you give me my 20 seconds back, you can go in, I would suggest you go to the meetings because I was able to rectify my stuff really quick. Let me tell you, they saw the resolution of my house and I'm no longer in the flood house. You can fight without paying $450. It'll save you some money. So go in before you have to do an appeal. Do not fill out their paperwork. Give them your name and your address because line 4 is, do you have a mortgage? Well, that's because FEMA wants to know if they can restuff their coffers with money and take it all, us out to the bank. So please, don't fill that out. Just give me your name and address and argue with you little guys. And believe me, you can save yourself.
Where do you go to do that?
There's 4 meetings. One was at Boynton, one was at Vista, and there's 2 more, and I apologize.
One's in Jupiter.
Can you get the information?
One's in Dublin. Dublin's tonight. It's open. Yeah. One in Jupiter still left.
Excuse me, could you give Jim the information so we can put it on the Indian Trail website? Could that work?
There's a couple of contacts that FEMA, I will give you emails.
FEMA.gov, and you can find.
Well, there's 2 men that I dealt with. You could probably look at their emails and at least deal with them one-on-one. Okay? And now, out of your picture.
All right, thank you. Next.
Hello, Don Reese, 97 Lane North, Homestead. I'm up at the podium tonight for two different topics. The first topic involves the spending of ITID taxpayer revenues on this continued fight against developments in our area, specifically Minto. How much has been spent to date on this, and how much is continuing to be spent on this futile attempt to do exactly what? I know I was not at the meetings when this was initially discussed, but at what point is enough enough? Okay? When do we start focusing on how we can get something positive for this community from these developers instead of continually fighting them? I also have to ask why such large amounts of our taxpayer monies are being spent without any official polling of such taxpayers to get a true picture of what is really wanted and not wanted. Okay, this sign up here, does that say Indian Trail Improvement District, or does it say No to Minto Improvement District? Because that's all I hear up here. Okay, everything is no to Minto, no to Minto. We're going to work against Minto here, we're going to put some berms up here, we're going to buy some roads. Come on already, I mean, seriously. I'm going to leave my second topic that I was going to talk about for another time after the events of tonight. We'll get around to that in another meeting or two. I just want to finish up by echoing Supervisor DeMone, what she said at the beginning of the meeting. Let us remember 9/11 tomorrow. And all the thousands that died on the ground and in the air that fateful day. Let us never forget the thousands of men and women that have given their lives so that we can remain free and our children safe. Thank you.
Through the chair. Hello, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Reese?
Yes.
When you're looking at and saying no to Minto, I have never said no to Minto. No one on this board has said no to Minto. What we said was no to the traffic. There was, what they originally bought for was 2,996 houses. I have never personally ever said no to Minto. I said if you bought a Volkswagen, you cannot have a Rolls Royce. That's the only thing I said.
That's the thing now, basically.
No, it's not. No, it isn't.
You don't want them to get special treatment.
All right, next. Oh, through the chair. The answer to Mr. Reese was we've spent $492,857.25 to date on professional team and everybody's going to get going. There are tools in there that I think are extremely important in this expense that we use. No matter if you are for or against Minto or somewhere in the middle, there's tools in there at some point that impact fees that will come back. The tools that we have in place that we spend money on will allow us to go down to the county and ensure that we get some, or better arguments, a leg to stand on, I think as somebody said earlier, to get those impact fees back. So although I don't have that same attitude of no to Minto, because I don't, I think we should be communicating and we should be discussing. Right. But there are tools in here that the taxpayers of this district has invested in that I actually believe in and support, that I think that when whatever happens on that property will allow us to go back and get the impact fees to improve the impact.
I understand that, but when I see 5 individuals.
Come back. Come back.
Sorry. When I look at these meetings with the county and see 5 individuals that we're paying for up there putting on a presentation, basically saying no to Minto. That's what they're saying up there at the podium. I've been to the county meetings. Okay. That's what they're saying. And taxpayers from ITID are paying for that without ever polling any of the taxpayers. You're taking the word of some vocal individuals and playing that out and spending our money without asking anyone else.
Okay. Can I do the chair?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves.
That's just the other ones I got. We're going to do one more after hearing this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Like I said, I've never said no to Minto, but I also live out here, and their traffic will impact me. All the figures that we had got before this point was based off of Minto. For us to even negotiate, we had to come up with our figures from our professionals so we could negotiate knowing that's what we have. Minto said that it would produce 70,000 cars a day. We didn't know if it was right or wrong. How can we negotiate with our county officials if we don't know where we stand? all we did was gain evidence.
Officials put out a study. They didn't have to charge you for that.
Who?
The county officials put out a traffic study.
Well, we got our own, because it affected our own. But do not accuse me of saying I said no to Lindbergh, because that is not true.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Go ahead, Jennifer, that's the last one.
No, I did want to reiterate, I've seen you at all the meetings as well, and I think that you've heard me say lots of times to the Commissioner of Planning and Zoning that I was not against 13996 and 235. So that's essentially, yes, Minto, come on in here for what you're allowed to come in for, not roll. Now, I don't want to roll over for them, and I mean, if them, then everyone else. They're given a number. They should work with a number.
This is the country we live
Well,
in.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for
done with that one. Next. Thank you.
I was also at the meeting where the ULDC was discussed, and I was asking questions of the board and the staff regarding a couple of changes to the hedge heights, and they were putting 4-foot hedge heights on the front and 8-foot hedge heights on the side and rear yards. And I asked if that change affected the unincorporated areas and meeting the acreage. And they said yes. And I said, well, what about people that have planted areca palms that don't get trimmed? And they grow too far higher than 8 feet. And I said, what about people that have planted trees and bushes that grow to 20 foot along the back of their property for privacy? They basically said, well, we want to be able to see in their yard. And then they wouldn't answer my questions. And when Mayor Taylor said to me, you need to get with staff after the meeting. They're going to vote on this and put it into play. And I said, no, I'd like my questions answered in public, so the public will know the answers. And she refused to answer. Well, Ursula Taylor, the Mayor Taylor said that, but Paulette Burdick said, I would like the question answered, and they proceeded to get in a big fight, and she was gavelled to shut up. So I never did get the answer. And then I believe Ms. Vanna, Commissioner Vanna said that, well, we need the answers to that eventually, because in my district, I expect all the codes to be enforced, all of them. Because he was kind of saying, well, you know, the codes are not really enforced unless somebody complains. But she said she expects it all to be enforced. So there are changes being made down at the county that are going to affect all of us, and I just wanted you to all be aware of it. I'm also concerned about the no cemento thing too. And those of us that are saying no, that we're saying no to the numbers, because until that is all decided, we can't know what we're dealing with. And the traffic, $400,000. If we all are landlocked in here with traffic where people can't drive out, we lose $25,000 out of our property value. Multiply that times the 17,000 properties or the homes that the lots that are here. If we lose value on our property, that's minuscule in comparison. I mean, what if it's $100,000 our property value goes down? We have to protect our property, and being able to get to work and get out of here and to go other places is important. And people don't move in places that they can't get to in a quick manner. If it takes them an hour to commute to work that's only a mile away, they're not going to buy here. So it's very important. Thank you. Thank you.
Joyce Parker? Joyce Parker? John Revere?
John Rivera, 11096 57th Road North. I just want to say thank you from AHA to the Indian Trail Board for all of your help in helping us put this banquet together, a work banquet. It was bigger than I wanted. I was exhausted. I just want to say thank you for all the supervisors that showed up. Actually, all of you showed up. And
appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you. And hopefully, I know I saw the flyer for Sunday. Yes, Sunday, first barrel of the season. I'd like to see one of you guys. You're going to be there?
My kid wants to come
Maybe
Sunday.
Sarah?
I'm not. Because I break
Maybe Michelle?
not this Sunday, but we'll be back to those.
I'm the fourth person and you didn't even invite me.
You got oranges too, that's right. Are you coming? Sunday.
The next barrel race, John.
I got 5:30.
All right, thank you.
Right, next.
Actually has two parts for public input.
Just make it just one. Just one. So try to squeeze it all in.
Comment in reference to the Lower Palm Beach and 60th Street intersection. I believe the reason that the county says they need to extend the pavement west is because of the elevation that they are crossing M Canal, which to me is an excessive height. In the future, if the developments out west come in, we're going to see the M Canal filled in. You're going to see an expressway going down. If they lower the bridge to where you only have so much water that's going to transfer through the M Canal to West Palm Beach, Sarasota. Why can't they go over the bridge? I realize, okay, so there's a lot of non-work there now. But if that is lowered, you're not going to end up having to have the transition grade going down west of Lower Palm Beach, which will satisfy the safety problem. The other thing I was going to say is I think you need to postpone something on Oakville Park restrooms. One of the things you need to put out there is given the other sketch to Mr. Chairman. You need to put a barricade around the guy wire coming down from Bedford Well. Somebody's running around there, not paying attention, either break a leg or break a nose.
Thank you. Next.
Chris Schwartz, 15392 Hamlin. I'm a big gardener, and I gave up my corporate society meetings to come because my philosophy is you're part of the problem and you're part of the solution. I've lived here for 14 years and I've been very quiet, and I don't like what's happening in Palm Beach County, period. I don't like what's happening in the acreage. I came initially to speak to Minto, but coming in as a total outsider, I had no idea what was going on in Corbett. And just coming in as an outsider with the firm, I'll be honest, it made no sense to me. You're spending this money, but you don't have this and you don't have that. I mean, it's just, my comment as an outsider coming in cold. I'm here because, as I said, Minto, I live right next to North Lake Boulevard, and the traffic is unbearable. Going to the commission meeting, listening to George Webb, you're talking 70,000 cars. He's talking about making North Lake 8 lanes. They're talking about making an overpass. They're talking about over $1 billion that the county doesn't have. And in fairness, you know, I've spoken to people, and I would be one of these no Minto, but I'm not saying no to their $29.96 and their $250,000. What they're asking for is absolutely ludicrous. And unless people are totally naive, this is what they're asking for now. And if you give them $4,500, well, later on, you're naive if you don't think they're going to come back for another $8,000 and another $2 million space. And what is this doing to our roads? We do not have the roads to go through. I have to applaud when I was at the commission meeting that when I saw Indian Trails and you had your people speaking, your presentation, so I say kudos. I mean, they're saying we're a small minority that is against this massive development. I think is Jess Santa Maria said if you poll the people, I think you would find out, no, it's not a small majority that's vocal. I think it's the majority, but a lot of people were. I had to take a personal day out, and I plan to do it again. I will say when I was at the commission meeting, there were some of you that were there and you spoke, and I thank you, and kudos to you. There were some I see here who did not speak. And as my father used to say, no comment is also a comment. And I don't know where you stand. As I said, I'm coming in cold. You'll probably be seeing a lot more of me. And I think we have to look for our western communities. And coming in cold again with 60th and putting up a berm, it's are we going to protect our way of life? Because where does it end? Also, I spoke on good presence to the commissioners, and I was told that every single week, Minto is speaking to every single commissioner personally. Have people in the acreage in Waxahachie met with commissioners personally every week. I've heard Ibis, where is Bay Hill, where is, what is it, Paul Notes across the street and all these others, are speaking. Concerned about the quality of life out here because it is really, really changing. So those that were there and spoke, I applaud you. Those that did not go, I know people have jobs. I hope you can make the next one.
Okay, next. Thank you.
She was the last one.
All right, we're going to go on to,
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
we have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'll motion to approve under the consent agenda 10.1, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5, and 10.6.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like
Jennifer, you all right?
what she was going to
Okay.
and then I'd like to move 10.2 down to the regular agenda. I will.
Second.
This section, Jennifer.
If we go,
Go ahead.
you call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
On the Hamlin House policy revision, I have an issue with it being open 365 days a year. I just would like to see both Thanksgiving and Christmas removed.
Go ahead.
The thinking when we said 365 was the possibility that someone might.
I don't want to pay one. I don't go to Kmart because they're open.
Okay, you want to put out a motion?
A motion to revise the policy, or to approve the policy with removal of Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Is there a second?
I'd like to state on that. I'd like to state something before we take the vote. Okay, one second. In our neighborhood, we represent everyone, and there's some Jews, different religions that don't celebrate Christmas. And just because we don't celebrate Christmas, I think it would be wrong for us to say that they can't rent it on those days. And that's the only thing I would say.
I'll add to that too, Chair.
Okay.
If I just maybe all holidays.
But I don't agree with that. Well,
How can we pick some one holiday and not another holiday?
I'm going to check. Because I think holidays like 4th of July or Memorial Day parade, we were back to that. Or even when we get to at some point, we have some memorial gardens and we get to a 9/11, like those type of things I've seen other government agencies do on typically on Jewish holidays. I'm saying typically, I'm not saying all. The government tends to still be open. The only ones that I was saying kind of going along with a lot of businesses and corporations that are not safety, like Apple Fire, is Thanksgiving and Christmas. If anybody has a different idea, then I'm going to try those two. My sites, those would go right. Including the Jewish person corporate.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry. And also, anything else to add? Are we only doing one thing at a time? Well, no, mine was on alcohol beverages. Are we allowing alcohol beverages or not allowing alcohol beverages? And I was unclear on how to take it.
If the permit includes alcohol, then we do it. We haven't changed that policy at all.
Well, because it says, all right, well, I'm just making sure. No, I don't have any confusion on alcohol beverages.
I would like to add Thanksgiving, but if that's not going to be the case, then I'll go along with the 2 days that you mentioned.
Motion stands. I'll favor that motion. Michelle just did with those two holidays on, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry. I said Never mind. That's all.
Okay.
That's your comment.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was thinking myself.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed. Okay. It doesn't pass, Michelle. Does somebody want to put another motion out?
Then I'll put a motion out to remove all holidays.
I mean, what about Easter if you move
Okay,
holidays?
does someone have a second motion?
What did she say?
I said motion to remove all holidays.
I said that earlier.
Well, I'm
So I was seconding, and I was just asking if we were talking about religious holidays or anything special. My comment about Easter and the others.
So now you want to remove all holidays?
No.
That's what I said.
I wasn't trying to do that. I was saying we were talking about one.
I make a motion that we leave it up to our Jim
Because there's
to make policy.
You guys know about Christmas?
That's what we do.
That's,
I mean, you have for clarification, don't celebrate Christmas. I know this.
does this policy require the attendance of staff?
It could. I mean, they can rent staff.
Policy what? Require the attendance of staff.
What if a person doesn't want? What if there's no employees that want to work on Christmas? They want to.
Well, that's what I'm concerned
Well,
about.
then we wouldn't be able to do it. But,
Well, if you revise the policy to say that, and they're only volunteer and not forced to work, then I have no problem with it. But I do not want one employee forced to work on Christmas or Thanksgiving.
we didn't plan on doing that.
I'll make a motion that we approve this policy. We approve the policy as is with a clause that no employee is forced to work, that it's on volunteer basis only. I mean, get paid for that they volunteer.
Do I have a second?
It's kind of like permanent.
All in favor?
I like to also say this. I make the motion to, as you said, no, I know, as you said, but I want to amend it, yeah. That we look at this policy in another 6 months or a year and reevaluate.
Bring it back.
So we're going with
The motion just Christmas and Thanksgiving.
No, wait a minute. No, all holidays.
No.
What do we do now? All I'm saying is to approve
No.
the policy as is, as long as the employees are not
Forced.
forced. It's like the permanent deputy
Or Gary wants
in
to
the background.
renew again in 6 months.
So including Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yes, but they have to volunteer. They
I
can't be forced to
understand,
work.
but
And then Gary wants to bring it back to review in 6 months.
we've never forced anyone.
Yeah.
You can kind of do it like we do with the permanent deputies.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We have one call.
Okay, go ahead.
Alex Larson.
She's not here. All right, let's go to consider P.
Let me get a clarification on what just passed.
Yes, the clarification is that it's approved the policy as is and no employee is forced to work. On a holiday.
So it won't be open if somebody doesn't want to work.
And it was comes back in 6
For
months.
review in 6 months. Consider PFM assessment.
Motion to approve.
Second?
The PFM asset management contract.
Amendment number 5 for the asset management.
The guy that sends us the email this week. Do we have a second?
a second.
Any discussion?
He doesn't have it in the agenda. I never heard of it.
Look at 11.1, Gary.
It's 11.3.
No, I don't have it.
He doesn't have it. I wrote it on.
Do you know what it is? Have you looked at it though?
It was the prior.
The big bag. Insurance. Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have to know what it is.
What do we, wait,
Michelle motion, Ralph second.
through the chair? That guy, Steve Alexander, you get an email every single month.
Yeah, every
He gives
single
you
day.
a PFM report. It's where our money is invested. And then he comes here, nice guy, and he gives us, yeah, we know that report. And the only one we usually ask him questions is Ralph.
Okay. I second the third.
Yes,
Go ahead.
You can have that from some different investment or somehow or other, that continuation of government bonds, and it's just something I just can't see. You said it was something a little higher. Yeah.
We'll have that.
Well, I remember I talked to him at the
So you're gonna put them on October?
Other meeting.
October
Okay,
on
that's meeting. Something else.
Okay, all in favor of that? Aye. Okay, FEMA flood maps, I guess that's Jenny's. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to try to make it pretty short since it's time. And it won't show all the things that are going to be that it's attached. Real quick, why do you need flood insurance? If you have a federally guaranteed mortgage, which almost every mortgage is, the Fed is required. If you are in a flood zone. If you read the paper, there's 160,000 people already parcel in Palm Beach County that are required to have flood. Parcel means any commercial, industrial, or residential. There's another article in the paper that says 2,000 people have been added, 36,000 have taken away since 2013. We had existing maps back in May 2013, which we got a lot of corrections to, and the current ones use that. FEMA expects to declare these maps as the maps in December of this year. Palm Beach County has already declared they will be appealing along with some other people within the 90-day appeal period where we need to put more information on. Assuming it's stuck with that 90 days, it would be about June, and then there's a 16-month period before you make the adoption of the final maps. So the adoption of the final maps, if the appeal takes the normal time, is the only maps. After that time, if you are shown in a flood zone, you will need flood insurance. What does it mean to be in a flood zone? Some mortgagors, people will not make this agreement. Some mortgagers, some insurers will say that any part of the flood zone that is your lot, you have to have insurance. Others will look to see if your house is that. That will go to the mortgagor and use your budget. If you're underneath the zone. There's still some errors in the maps, and we just had meetings over the last couple of weeks to discuss those. I'm not going to get into all the whys and wheres, but just be aware of the fact that those aerials from topography, it appears that for a lot of houses, not all, but it looks like about 10 feet outside the house is not accurate. And of course, the house, you can't see it from the floor. So, but by the methodology and the date when we saw that 2002 for our area, it looks like about 10 to 15 feet out. That's about what's 10 to 15 feet outside your house. So you could be a foot or two above the flood zone, but it's 10 to 15 feet outside your house. Is that flood zone? It's going to show you the whole house is flooded because they can't see your house. That's a basic issue. Now, Wellington has reflown the LiDAR and got much better data than that won't be part of this current process for the county. And some of those municipalities have said that we will participate in creating our own maps. We'll be doing, I think, FEMA, the federal government, is doing accurate maps. But that will come after these are adopted. We won't be constantly able to do that in the process. I'll do this quick if you have any questions. All right, good. You got that one. This is the changes map since 2013. It's not the changes from the current maps. It's not the current map from 1982 or so. The gray areas represent areas that didn't change. The blue areas represent areas that were taken out since 2013. And the red areas represent what was added. If you look at that map, you'll see there's a tremendous amount taken out. So overall, our effort in the last year across the county has been to prevent somewhere around 75% of what was flown was previously included as out.
Do you have a side to the count for the acreage?
No, we do not have a count. Part of the kind of what we've designed lots to flood. They're supposed to. So what we need to do is zoom in, or you'll get a better idea of what's happening. Mind back control. Zoom in. Let's go the lower basin of the M1. Let's go here. That's the lowest area in the M1 basin. So you're talking 40th Street here, this is the M1 canal, the M1 canal where it goes east to west. If you'll take a look, I'll zoom in a little further so you can get a better idea. The white blocks are outside of the flood zone, so you can see that pretty well represents the house. And there's several houses that have been now taken out of the flood zone.
This is kind of on the crazy side, so like looking at this one house, which I knew, and you just walk up here. This is insane. Like this house, right? The white house?
Yeah.
So this part of his property right outside of his driveway is in the flood zone. Probably a bathroom windows over here, but the backyard is not the flood zone. Is that what you're talking
The
about?
gray, I'll show you the actual flood zone on a different map, but what all this has changed. The red area was added to the flood zone. The white area is not in the flood zone.
Well, that's because it's a house, right?
So the gray area stays the same, and the blue came out of the flood zone.
So I'm just to grasp this chart, just because I just put everything in logic. If this is my house and it's going facing south, north, my driveway and this little section of my house here is in a flood zone, but my backyard is not. Is that how I'm reading it correctly?
I can show you the answer to that question on a different map. All this tells you is what changed. It doesn't tell you whether you're in or not. The red is in.
So that means it's in flood.
And part of your property.
Red is yes. Well, it's really different. This is only change.
Jay, when I questioned about my property was completely outside. My whole property was completely outside any kind of flood zone. Any kind of flood zone. But the property next to me was occupied by trees. It was also outside the flood zone, and I know it was. So I figured.
The map, there's a lot of problems.
And, you know, bonds are considered a good thing, and everyone that has one is close. Yeah. So if I put it in, am I in the flood zone?
That's base flood elevation. Down there. Without seeing it, I lay the road for no, that's not. I think I'm on that. There we go. Go down to the same area down. All right. Now, zoom in to this area. That's the same area we were just looking at. This one, Michelle, shows the actual buildings.
Which is in white, right? With a little black around it.
Zoom in a little further. You can see building outlines like that building,
Right.
that building. Everything that has color is in the flood zone. Everything that's white is not.
So basically the castle is not, but the moat around it is.
Yes, I mean, you see it.
Which is how, like you said, designed it what, after 1974, 77, somewhere in there? When did we change it? 82?
82 was the previous one.
No, that's not what I mean. When you changed the fruits, that's where I'm at. when the county changed their codes to build the house pad up to a certain level, I think that was the late 70s or 80s, early 80s. That's why things are showing up the way they are, because they're above the level that's accepted, but the property is probably below.
Well, yeah, most of the properties should be below.
Because that's how we designed it. That's,
Under
yeah.
conform,
Yeah.
you're supposed to flood.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So we're getting penalized for the design.
All of flood.
Not all.
All of that water.
That's one of the things I tried to explain to them is I said, the Corps of Engineers basically guided us. We're supposed to hold our own water because we're on wells. I said, how is this map fair?
It's not fair. There needs to be a lot of corrections and when we go to a countywide remapping, we'll get rid of it. You'll see there's still a lot of houses that are shown in. Those people will have to go through what's called a well pond, letter of map, and get surveyed around the house. Well, we had a resident say earlier that she talked to somebody. I specifically asked that question, and they said they would not do it for an individual house, even if you gave them data for an individual house, you still have to go through the normal process. But I hope she was successful, but she's not supposed to be successful with what she said she did.
Probably looking at newer houses in the white, older houses in the flood zone.
If there's another possibility that since the data was fallen in about 2002, anything that was built after that, it's going to show the ground level of what was there before. And since the house wasn't there and the fill was there, it's going to show a flood. So it misses everything since the last 12 years.
So Jay, let me ask you this, because if I'm an insurance agent for whatever, State Farm, and I look at an acre and a quarter property and I see 20% of it in a flood zone and the other 80% not, because that's kind of how you're showing it as spotted. So would you create the policy based on 20%, or do you just put the entire piece of property, even a little bit of it, the entire piece of property in a flood insurance policy?
Unfortunately, that's up to the mortgage.
That would be very complicated.
People would not answer that question. It's up to the mortgage. And there are certain communities like the city of Atlanta who have said in their policy that if any part of your lot has a flood on it, they will tell the people who call them that you are in a flood.
But if you have a retention pond on your property, which is what's supposed to collect the water,
If it is,
that's going to be in a flood zone.
it's on your property.
So if you have a pond now, you're automatically in a flood zone. And those ponds were built for that reason. Makes no sense.
I'm not going to defend the results.
You're just a messenger.
But we did get, we were very, very successful in getting a lot of money out, a lot of the land.
What is the, and I'll go over there and talk to you, what is the lead that Wellington's doing?
Wellington had their own modular home.
Yeah, I know Paul.
They have 2.5-foot boxes instead of the update is 5-foot boxes. One elevation, 5 feet, 25 square feet, 5 feet on the side. We, in 2013, based on 10-foot box, 100 square feet, we forced the issue to go to the 5-foot box. Wellington, who knew that, which is a lot more accurate, and they want to have a 2.5-foot box. It's 2.5 square, 6.25 or something.
So they have more accurate data, but it doesn't get applied to now, it's applied to the future, correct?
They submitted that data, and
So they got it in on time.
No, that doesn't mean that.
Well, this is what I'll do. And I know that we're restricted in improvement district versus municipalities that have a bigger budget and more flexibility. But I'll go over and have a conversation with Paul and find out how much they've spent and invested in that. And then at least, yeah, and then we can consider it in the future. But obviously there's going to be I spoke with the Acres Landmark Association the other night. It'd be interesting to bring somebody in who understands the FEMA maps well, and then take somebody that's been in the insurance industry and be able to explain how that's actually going to affect, so that the homeowners in the acreage can at least prepare themselves. But
I was at a League of Cities meeting where Ann Burrow was on the I know you were, but she goes, said that, I believe the number she said they spent on hire was $65,000. She added the best $65,000 ever spent.
that's how I feel about the professional.
Not even get into details because I want to show you one website that anybody can get there. I just go to Internet Explorer because I'm not the main public class, but I just want to show you
Put
this.
it on the website. And maybe even plug it on Facebook.
Put it in Palm Beach County, my
GeoWeb.
GeoWeb.
It's just basically no.
GeoNav.
Oh, instead of web?
Yeah.
NAV?
This will bring up a map of the entire county, and you can search by a specific address if you want, or an owner name. Let's just zoom in. Zoom in to the acreage. We'll look in the same area we were in.
So this actually allows you to identify where your home's located.
This is the county aerial.
And then you take the map and was it a layover of the area?
That's what it is on here, but you know how to get to it.
Right.
I'm going to zoom in first, because when you turn it on before you zoom in, you get somebody on, it's hard to see where
Just pick a property.
So you go to map layers, and then there's public safety, and then there's 2013 flood zone, or 14 flood zone. Click it on. And it actually shows you, every time you put this on here, you sort of have, they didn't shake it, so you have to know how to look at it. If it says X, you say X, that means you're out of the flood zone. And if you're not in the X zone, you are in the flood zone.
Okay, right.
That it's hard to find it on the map where that designation is.
Check your address. There's one address.
Yeah, you can do that here.
Congratulations.
Is that you? That one shows you have been taken out of the
Congratulations.
I'm not sure.
We'll go to my house.
I'm not sure it might be known to
my
this
house.
other area. Yeah.
They're built for that.
You want to zoom in on this property to see if it tells you if this is an alley or if you repurpose this?
If you put the address in, it'll give you the details.
So you're out of it is very old.
So this is
All these trees are kind of gone.
go to my house.
All those trees.
To get a permit. Just kidding. Go to my house. Go to my house. 13040 56 West Lawn. That's me.
All right.
That's
So
my house.
is your house in order in 2002?
Yes.
Well, because it's showing that this area is not in the flood zone, this area is not.
And guess what? That's where our house is. Those are both those are nurseries. There's 3 ponds around, including mine. That's why. Okay, Jay. Yes, you click on the results, it actually tells you the description. The ones that
Tells you what zone it's in?
If you click on the results, I think it is. Look, and it'll tell you. And that's the green pond. Because it is, because the stuff that runs off from here. Okay, this is. It's not coming up right now. So your house is. I have, it is. Okay, so my property is.
it says proposed AE limits the flood zone. And I didn't confirm my house was
But
signed on that.
again, the county designation is by parcel. So if any of your parcel is in the AE zone, it's probably going to say you are, but does not necessarily consider your house. The good news about Indian Trail, Dan, if you're in the upper M1 basement, any part of the upper M1 basement, you're out of the flood zone. Upper M1 or lower? Mr. Dumpling's in the upper, he's not in it.
Yeah, we have it.
So if you're in unit 9, 1, 2, or 4, I believe it is, you could be in a flood zone. If you're anywhere in the map sign, if you're anywhere in the upper basement here, you're not in a flood zone.
I'm in the upper basement, I'm north of Orange.
The north of Orange, as long as you're west of the canal, you're in the upper basement. All right, well, I don't know if there's any other questions, but that's basically all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks. It's not over.
Okay, read, but I don't think Alex and Ann are here anymore.
Okay, so just one of them down low.
I would like to congratulate Jay for an excellent job. He went above and beyond the call of duty to figure out several clever ways to get the majority of the possible flood zones properties out of the flood zones. And I think you got like 98 or 99% of the nod, is that right?
The properties, yes.
The actual structures.
I said 75 feet, but just say that is some back to it.
Okay, but I do have to contradict Jay on something. The governing law is the Flood Disaster Protection Act of 1973. And there's a document called Mandatory Purchase of Flood Insurance Guidelines, dated 2007. And it states, and I'll read it to you, that the lender is responsible to determine whether the building or manufactured mobile home offered as security for a loan is or will be located in a special flood hazard area. So they go by the building, not by the lot. And when I was at the FEMA meeting, I specifically asked that question from the people at the insurance table, and they told me the same thing. So, based on what I'm seeing here, it sounds like if your building is out of the flood zone, you're in the clear. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
That's good.
If that's people are going to go like that, that's fine.
They represent the public differently, but I hope that's the way it should be, and I hope it's right.
Is he going to end up considering that a lot of properties out here have a pond? That pond is in the flood zone. And all properties in the flood zone?
As I said, FEMA is not the determiner of it, but Alan just read it. It's the mortgager.
I mean, is that
Yeah.
in the term
Right.
map out, map out the lower areas, something like that?
It's like we're about the highest elevations in the counties on the side. Make any sense?
They will put you up with and trace the dikes, we will still be fine. So you don't hire them up to the hole because of the
That's perfect.
So how we survived Isaac.
Any other comments? We're not taking action. Okay. The next is 1124, consider commercial and WC insurance. Second? Have a second?
Did we get any other comments other than? No, we did not. What we did, Wells Fargo, actually, I was late getting our, it took us longer to get our census stuff together this year and get the information into Wells Fargo. But we added more information and we became a more complete census of equipment. provide, we need a September response on this so we can find the policy. But what we are doing, there are other brokers that are interested, no doubt. And we will go, we're halfway through creating an RFQ to the brokers for both health, workers' comp, and commercial. So, and that'll happen within the next year.
So how long is this,
Well, this is 1 year. It's just a renewal.
If I remember right, it was a 5-year renewal, and then this is the last year of the 5 years. Is that what it was?
Wells Fargo, we didn't really, I don't think so. I think we've been with them actually longer than 5 years.
No, I'm just saying, though, yeah, maybe I'm thinking of insurance. It was a 5-year agreement, and this is the last year of the 5 years. Is this the same one?
No.
Okay.
No, it's on general liability and workers' comp.
All right.
All in favor? Aye. I'm gonna just put a motion to receive and file the report. Second?
Second.
Madam Chair, could I say one thing real quickly? We were looking for a response from all board members as far as the welcome to the acreage signs. We're very eager to get going on these. And I just wanted to see if everyone has read the locations that we've chosen for 5 signs so far, and if everybody agrees.
Okay.
So we can get going with that.
I'm good.
I'll motion to approve the 5 locations.
Along with the call the question about it. Let me call the question about it first. All in favor? Okay.
And I'll put a motion on the table to approve 5 location identified for the welcome to the acres sign.
Yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Talking about signs, who put that sign up there on,
I did approve a point.
okay, it looks like,
Do you know what the point is? Do you know what the point is?
no,
Wait, just take a while, guess what that point is.
looks like,
Since 2007, we've been wanting to welcome the acre sign. Looks like we're reinventing the wheel. After Mike Erickson donated this, we're still taking forever to get it up. So we rented a piece of property for the sign up, say, well, then rent the property all year round. If we got to do that, it's going to come down to that. We'll go pick several locations, and I'll pay out of my own pocket to rent so somebody can put the electric food on their table. So we have a welcome to acre sign, because I'm sick and tired of waiting. No, I'm putting the point across. I want you to understand what I'm saying, because I know where you're going at.
No, it's still, if you're going to put a sign, whether the sign is representative of the acre, that sign is up there. It's very attached.
The money came out of my pocket, okay, and that's all I can afford, because I really, it's not permanent now. It's a proof point to get staff off their butts, to get going on. Thank you. I know, but now we gotta go think that we did it. Now we gotta go. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It's on the property, it's not the easement. So, quick motion to adjourn.
No, I have a very important thing. On State Road 7 issue, and it's hard to get into this the strategy of it, so I'm going to try and say what I can. I think I told most people at the NPO meeting in July that the City of West Palm Beach is trying to delay State Road 7 project being connected to North Lake by asking for an environmental impact study instead of an environmental analysis. And the Department of Transportation came in and put both up there and did a really good presentation to you about showing that the environmental assessment that they did was above and beyond the equivalent to the EIS. It's not really that the City of West Palm Beach wants the additional environmental protection, because when you look at both out there, it's just a delay tactic for 3 to 4 years. That being said, it's sitting in limbo right now because they got the attention of the Federal Highway Administration. And so there's been some lobbying with the state and at the federal level working with Todd Bonnar, thank you, and with the mayor of Fort County Commissioners to counter that influence. And so at this time, I need to come back to the board and ask for an additional $5,000 to go to the Lewis along thought it was coming to an end until this little issue came up. And I would encourage everybody, I think it's the 18th of September, to go to the next MPO meeting, because this is where this actually occurred. The 17th, actually. It's, I'll double check. It's either the 18th or 17th. I think it's the 18th, honestly. September is done at Metropolitan Organization. It's on the 6th floor, 12th floor. 6th floor of the Board of County Commissioners building. But I would just go down there and just pay attention. Anyways, so I am looking for a motion to approve $5,000 for this long and longer. And this is where it's been contributed by other areas, but obviously at this point, in trouble will be on.
And how much are they?
10.
This is for more.
They need to, it's hard to get into that part of it because I don't want the city of West Palm Beach to know, but it's at the federal level.
All in favor?
No.
No.